back to our regularly scheduled programming from Veterans Field. Game 2 of the doubleheader between the Orleans Firebirds and the Chatham Anglers. Thanks so much for joining us once again tonight on the Birds Broadcast Network as we start our second scorching start of the night. Ian Nicholas, Dylan Pescatore on the call. You'll hear from the third member of our crew, Sammy Miller, in just a few moments. Dylan, for those who did not catch the continuation of a game that started on July 5th, got fogged out in the bottom of the fourth inning, and got resumed today, what happened in the final 5 1/3 and what ended up being Orleans' third win in a row?
It's been a lot and a lot of baseball today, but that game, it started with the Firebirds putting up a run in the 6th inning on an RBI single by Joe Oyama. It was responded by 2 runs by Chatham out of defensive miscues by the Firebirds. And then in the top of the 9th, down 1, they need at least 1. They get 2. An RBI single from Micheletti to drive in the tying run. And then the Firebirds tack on another run on a wild pitch to put up 8 runs to go up 8-7, and then Sean Matson closed it. That was only the start to our game. That's only game 1, Ian. We got a full 9 innings to go now.
And that's going to start with Evan Truitt on the mound. It's funny, if you look at the box score after tonight, Evan Truitt started game 1 because he made the start on July 5th against Chatham, and the game got fogged out. Did not pitch just a few hours ago. That was Grayson Carter who picked up this game in the bottom of the 4th. And Dylan, Evan Truitt is going to start again in this game. He's pitched a lot, so maybe not going to go his typical 3 to 4, but Evan Truitt, a very good option to start what technically is his second straight game.
Yeah, it's funny that it is his second straight game, but I think Truitt can give a good 2 to 3 innings to this Firebirds team. But you got to mention, Ian, I think over the last few games, they've been very fortunate because they haven't had to use a lot of their top arms. The Falmouth game, they use Eaton, they use Watson, they use Matson. Off day yesterday, which was really big. And then today, those guys are back in the mix. So almost anyone except Sean Matson is available for game 2.
Matson got the job done like we've already talked about on the scorching start in game 1, which was a win for the Firebirds. Now the Birds trying to get ahead in the season series against the Chatham Anglers and pick up a win in game 2 of this doubleheader. Speaking of a well-rested bullpen, one of the more recent acquisitions to this team has been stellar. His name, Matthew Watson, pitched against Falmouth on Wednesday. Not necessarily in a big spot because Orleans dominated late in that game, but he's been very good through 4 appearances with this team. We could see him here in game 2 of a doubleheader, and you will see him right now because Dylan caught up with him here on the scorching start.
Things gonna start though.
I know. Thanks, Ian. Here with Matthew Watson, right-handed reliever for the Firebirds. Matthew went 5 innings so far this summer, scoreless. ERA is still perfect. How are you feeling out there against batters?
I'm feeling good, man. You know, I'm just trying to make sure I keep my confidence up and pound the zone.
So you just spent a year at Texas A&M Corpus Christi. Now you're over here. How does it feel coming from a Southland school and facing some Power 5 guys?
It feels great. You know, I didn't notice, you know, like too big of a difference in the competition as I really thought I would. But I think it's been really good for me.
I think with a lot of pitchers, we get caught up in velocity and how can you get guys out to do the strikeout. How do you get guys out, righties and lefties?
You know, I try to make sure, like I said, to continue to pound the zone and force weak contact. I think it's a really efficient way to get outs.
This bullpen has been a revolving door this season for the Firebirds. Some guys going to the draft, some guys hitting innings limits. You've kind of been in that setup role for Sean Matson, the closer. How do you feel in that role out of the bullpen?
Yeah, definitely. You know, I think I've kind of played the role as like the bridge to Sean Matson, you know, and that guy's been pretty great all year. So I'm happy to fill that role.
Now, no players from Texas A&M Corpus Christi are on the Firebirds, but who have been some of your friends that you've met and kind of gotten close to here on the Birds?
I'd say I've really gotten close, you know, with Sean himself and DC and some of these other guys. You know, I feel like there's a really good group of guys here, and they really took me in.
So you've been through a lot, Matthew. You went to 2 years over at community college. Now you're at the D1 level over in the Southland Conference, Texas A&M Corpus Christi. How are you kind of attacking this summer? What are you working on specifically when it comes to pitching, or just enjoying the summer so far?
Yeah, I'm just trying to make sure I stay within myself, you know, and just keep doing what I know I can do. I'm not trying to, you know, do too much or really trying to get, you know, outside of myself.
Is there anything specifically you were working on in terms of maybe trying a new pitch or keeping the ball low in the zone that you learned at spring this college that you're taking into here?
Yeah, so whenever I first got here, Coach Lawler saw something with my slider and kind of mentioned it was kind of loopy, and we kind of discussed a new grip and a new way of throwing it. And I feel like it's really kind of taken off and kind of developed into a way better pitch for me than I previously had.
Interesting. So a slider that moves, is that more of a sweeping slider, more of an up and down?
It's kind of more of like a hard, like kind of cutter slider type, which is what I've been looking for a lot these past few years, and I finally found it.
Now we got about 7 games to go in the season after the doubleheader today against Chatham and then the playoffs. How do you feel about this bullpen? A lot of really strong arms that we have to come in after some starters.
Yeah, I feel like this bullpen's awesome. It's really evolving. We got a lot of new guys that came in and I've really attacked these hitters, and I think it's gonna be fun to watch in the upcoming games.
Back to you, Ian, on the scorching start.
Was Dylan with Matthew Watson, the right-handed pitcher from Texas A&M Corpus Christi, who hasn't given up an earned run in 4 appearances this summer for the Firebirds. It's the second appearance for Orleans in Chatham today from Veterans Field, the second leg of our doubleheader, and the second time we'll end the scorching start and head to a quick break before first pitch as we ready for the national anthem here from Chatham. Join us in just a few here on the Birds Broadcast Network. We're ready to play even more baseball from Veterans Field. Game 1 went in favor of Orleans 8-7 in a back-and-forth battle which started on July 5th, got fogged out, and ended here today, 23 days later on July 28th. Now, Orleans looks for the sweep, playing 9 full innings in game number 2. Thanks so much for joining us on the Birds Broadcast Network. Ian Nicholas, Dylan Pescatore, Sammy Miller on the call. It's a gorgeous day from Veterans Field. 82 degrees and sunny. Dylan, Orleans, the road team, is going to bat first. And what does the lineup look like? Are there any major changes in the lineup compared to the first leg of the doubleheader?
Well, there's only one player in terms of batters for the Firebirds that didn't get into Game 1. That was Henry Hunter. He's in here in Game 2. Joe Oyama leads off, playing second base. Justin Rubin bats second, playing third. Jack Penny's at short, batting third. Justin Rubin batting second. Fenwick Trimble in the cleanup role, playing left field. Eddie Micheletti does the DHing in the fifth spot. Eddie King Jr. batting sixth, playing center. Brandon Stallman in the seventh spot, playing first base. Henry Hunter does the catching in the eighth spot, and Colin Tuff rounds it out, playing right field.
Orleans wearing their black vest jerseys with white lettering, red trim, red undershirts, white pants, and black helmets. That's the lineup for 18th year manager Kelly Nicholson. Meanwhile, for Chatham, the lineup in Game 2 of the defensive alignment includes Xander Sechrist on the mound, making his first start of the summer for the A's in his 7th appearance out of Tennessee. Behind the dish is Jaden Melendez at first, Caden Kent at second, Bryce Martin Grudzelanek at third, Lane Forsythe at short, Derek Fabian. In left field, Kyson Donahue. In center, Brennan Holt. And in right, Tyler Wolford. Dylan, this is not the first time. Heck, it's not even the second time Orleans has seen Sechrist. He had a bit of a rocky first time out against this Firebirds team, but looked really good when these two teams matched up last Friday from Eldridge.
Yeah, it was actually interesting. I think we saw him this morning. Oh, no, he was in the game one before we came back.
That's a good one.
And then he gave up 5 runs to the Firebirds in that third inning where they put up 5 runs. Eventually won the game earlier today, 8-7. Sechrist has had 2 halves to his season. His first 2 outings, not too hot. Ever since, he's been much better. And that goes to his numbers at college. He had a 2 ERA at Tennessee this past year.
In those first 2 appearances, like you said, Sechrist, the Georgia native, struggled heavily in 2 2/3 innings pitched in losses at Falmouth and against Orleans. Sechrist gave up 8 runs off 10 hits. Not what you want to see. But ever since, he's been lights out. He's only given up 1 earned run in his last 10 innings pitched. He's been a completely different pitcher. Currently, he's stamping his left foot to the rubber, getting ready for his first start of the summer. Came out of a bullpen for Tennessee this past season. It's Redshirt Friday across the league, representing the military and honoring the military. Chatham wore the same uniforms in Game 1 of his doubleheader. The all-red tops with the gray lettering, the white pants, and the camo hats with a Cape Cod Baseball League logo down the middle. Sechrist wearing the high blue socks and the black and white cleats. Dylan, Game 1 offensively for Orleans started a little slow, left some runners on base, but then cashed in and got some big hits in the late stages. What do they need to replicate here early on in Game 2?
I think it's just clutch hitting and it's finding holes. I think Eddie Micheletti's single in that 9th inning was huge. He hit at 100 miles per hour over the last 5 games or so where the Firebirds are really starting to hit the ball. 10-plus hits in the last 4 games for the Firebirds. What they're doing so well is making hard contact. Even if it goes in some gloves of defenses, they're finding ways as they continue along and make hard contact, and that's what's been winning for this team.
Orleans has been winning a lot as of late. 3 wins in a row. The Birds sit at 20-18 on the year, 2nd in the East Division. The Chatham Anglers, 5th in the East, 6 losses in a row, 10-26-2 are the A's. The season series between these two teams split at 2 games apiece. Orleans split a doubleheader against Chatham last week from Eldridge, trying to sweep the doubleheader this time around from Veterans. Leading off for the Firebirds, just like he has for the last month, is the all-star and the rising senior from UC Irvine, currently stretching it out near the left-handed batter's box, Joe Oyama. 7:02, first pitch in Game 2. Second leg of his doubleheader. This game to go 9 innings after the first game. Technically went 9, but they only played 5 1/3 of those 9 innings here today. Oyama steps into the left-handed batter's box. Sechrist deals and lands his first pitch in for a strike, 0-1. First pitch clocking in at 88 miles an hour for the Georgia native. At the belt, kicks and deals the 0-1. Misses low for ball 1. And an even 1-1 count to Oyama. Came into the day 2nd in the league in batting average. Top 3 in the league in on-base plus slugging. The all-star starter for the East Division at second base. The 1-1 is launched high in the air to right field. Looking up at it is Wolford, and he's going to look up at it because it's gone. Joe Oyama cannot stop hitting home runs against the Chatham Anglers. Hit 2 of them in the doubleheader last Friday. 1 more to lead off the game here from Veterans Field. 1-0 Orleans off just 1 pitch. Joe Oyama, sensational.
Oyama, what a shot. To right, he got the Birds started back against Chatham in Game 1 with a home run. He had a homer in Game 2. Make that 3 this season against the Anglers for Oyama.
Oyama, his team-leading 5th home run on the summer. Had 2 home runs in his last game on Tuesday, the 25th, against Wareham. Now batting is Justin Rubin, the third baseman. Xander Sechrist misses low. Now 2-0 to the Philadelphia native Rubin. Spent his first 2 years collegiately at Virginia, transferring to Pepperdine in California this season. Bases empty, nobody out. The 2-0 pitch. Popped up behind home plate and into the parking lot. 2-1. Joe Oyama leads this game off with another home run. He has hit 5 home runs in the last week. 3 of them against Chatham. Didn't have a single home run headed in the last Friday against the Anglers. Now he's just doing it on a routine basis. The 2-1 pitch. Misses up and away for ball 3. Rubin came off the bench in Game 1 of a doubleheader and had a big hit. Had not played in the previous 5 days. He's been battling some lingering ailments, but toughening it through. Sechrist for 3-1. Swing and a miss. 3-2. Orleans, the 1-0 lead in the top of the first inning. A solo shot to right for Joe Oyama. Orleans took Game 1 8-7. The 3-2 pitch. Outside for ball 4, the breaking ball. Doesn't get the call for the Tennessee Vol. Ball 4, a full count walk. Still no outs recorded from Sechrist, who had a lot of positive momentum headed into this start, Dylan, but is struggling right now.
The first 2 batters reach, 1 on the home run, now on a walk. Sechrist has to find his stuff and quickly, because we know how much the Firebirds love to pitch, and they've been pitching really well this season. You don't want to give them a big lead to start the game.
Jack Penny now batting. The lefty takes a strike as Sechrist clips the lower third of the zone. 0-1. Sechrist allowed 2 home runs back on the 5th against Orleans. One of them was to Jack Penny, a 3-run shot. No balls and a strike. Here's the pitch. Cracked through the 4-3 hole. It bounces in the right for a base hit. Second hit already. No outs recorded. The Firebirds pouncing on Sechrist early. Runners on first and second. Nobody out. 1-0 Birds after the leadoff solo shot from Joe Oyama.
They're seeing Sechrist really well right now. And Ian, we looked at this Chatham roster before the game, and they don't have a lot of pitching on their roster. 1, 2, they don't have many. I'm going to get the exact number for you. I believe it's 11 pitchers on this roster. Some are going to be starters. They have more games to play as well. So they're going to be pushing their starting pitcher today, Sechrist, long, no matter if he gives up runs or not.
It's a team that had the worst ERA in the league headed into tonight at just under 6.4. Also the second highest whip. It's been a tough season pitching-wise for Chatham. Now batting is Fenwick Trimble, the left fielder, with 2 runners on and nobody out in a 1-0 game that favors the Birds in the top of the first. Sechrist deals. Swing and a foul tip into the dirt. 0-1.
Chatham with 11 pitchers on their roster. Just for comparison, the Firebirds have 17, so much more depth than these Anglers, who are going to have to, like I said, push Sechrist long and hope that he continues to keep scores low, which hasn't happened so far tonight.
Already 12 pitches for Sechrist in his first start of the summer without recording an out. Rubin off second, Penny off first. No balls and a strike. Trimble rocks one to left field, and it is caught on a line. Snagged in a left-handed glove of Zach McDonald. It was rocked off the bat, but for Trimble, it doesn't drop for a hit. That's the first out of the inning.
I think that's possibly Trimble's hardest hit ball as well this season. That and his home run back against Bourne a few weeks back. He cracked that ball, but like we talked about, it goes into the defender's glove, and you have to just take it. You can't get too high or low in this game.
First out recorded, a much-needed one for Sechrist. Back to another lefty and the designated hitter, Eddie Micheletti. Here's the pitch. It drops on the lower third with the breaking ball for a strike, 0-1. Runner on second is Justin Rubin, who walked. Jack Penny on first after his single through the right side of the infield. 2 hits for the Birds, including the first, a solo shot from Joe Oyama to start the game. The 0-1 pitch. Just high for ball 1. An even 1-1 count. Micheletti came up big last game.
Yes, he did. An RBI single in that 9th inning to tie it. Been so clutch for this team. Him and Jack Penny, along with Joe Oyama, have been really stagnants in a good way for this lineup. They can pencil them in every day.
The 1-1 is popped up in the shallow left field. Coming in is Donahue. He makes the catch right near his forehead for out number 2. Back-to-back flyouts to left for Orleans. One from Trimble, one from Micheletti, who does not come up big there. 2 runners on, 2 out, 1-0 Birds, top 1.
Firebirds have been making really good contact and going the opposite way as well. Sometimes it doesn't drop for you, and I think they've done such a great job this season of not letting some hard-hit balls go into gloves and letting that affect them. Sometimes that can affect you mentally if you're doing everything right and you get a good wood on it, you hit the ball hard, but it doesn't go your way. It can affect you. The Firebirds preach to continue on. Don't let things get too up or down.
Sechrist clips the bottom of his own, facing the right-handed center fielder Eddie King, and gets ahead 0-1. With runners on first and second and 2 out. Birds lead 1-0, top 1. Sechrist the 0-1. Swung through and missed. 0-2. The fastball on the outer half, dialed to 89 miles per hour. Eddie King, he has been great over the last week. In the first leg of his doubleheader, laid down a big sac bunt in the 9th inning to move runners over to second and third, and eventually set up the go-ahead run for Orleans, who won 8-7. The 0-2 pitch misses outside, gloved by Melendez behind the dish for ball 1. King still behind 1-2. Runner on second is Justin Rubin. He walked. The man on first is Jack Penny. He singled to right. Sechrist sets at the belt. Delivers the 1-2. King chops one to third. Gloved by Forsythe. He steps on third, forces out Justin Rubin, and ends the inning. Joe Oyama does what Joe Oyama does. A leadoff home run. Took him just 2 pitches to smoke one to right and give the Birds a 1-0 lead. We go to the bottom of the inning. Stay tuned on the Birds Broadcast Network. Bottom of the first on the Birds Broadcast Network. We appreciate you tuning in. It's 1-0 Orleans after a home run to start this game from Joe Oyama. Chatham looks for a response, Dylan, and who do they look to get that response?
Yes, they're starting 9 in their lineup for a team that's lost 6 in a row. Brennan Holt starts off. He plays center field. Bryce Martin Grudzelanek batting second, playing second. Caden Kent, the lefty, at first base, batting third. Kyson Donahue, who we didn't see in game 1, bats fourth, plays left field. Tyler Wolfert in right, bats fifth. Lane Forsythe bats sixth, he's at third. Zach McDonald, DHs, bats seventh. Jaden Melendez catches, he bats eighth. And Derek Fabian is in the 9 hole, playing shortstop.
Starting on the mound for Orleans, making his 7th start of the summer, is the right-handed pitcher from Charleston Southern, Evan Truitt. The leadoff man, like Dylan just mentioned, is the center fielder, Brennan Holt. The lefty Holt against the righty Truitt, whose first pitch is crushed, and it gets down right ahead of a track and rolls towards the wall in right center field. Eddie King picks it up, launches it to Jack Penny at short, but not before a leadoff double from Brennan Holt. A little bit of a better result for Holt after he also led off last game, rather.
Yes, a strikeout to start the resumption of last game. First pitch takes a fastball from Truitt into right center field for a double. Good start by Chatham.
Chatham trying to pick up its first win in 7 games. Here's the second baseman from USC, Bryce Martin Grudzelanek, a righty, to face for righty Truitt, who's technically starting back-to-back games. Here's the pitch. It misses outside with the fastball, 1-0. 91 miles an hour from the Berlin, Maryland native, just south of Delaware. Holt off second with nobody out. The tying run in a game in which Orleans leads 1-0. Truitt looks at Holt, deals the pitch. Up in the zone, a check swing that Martin Grudzelanek held behind the plate, but he takes a strike nevertheless, 1-1.
Truitt is a strike thrower, and he has some experience starting in Chatham. We talked about the resumption of game 1, gave up a 2-run home run in the first inning, but then really locked in and was really good after that.
The 1-1 pitch is chopped high in the air towards first, picked up by Stallman. He throws to recovering Truitt, and he doesn't get there in time. Reaching on a high chopper towards the right side of the infield is Martin Grudzelanek. An infield single, back-to-back hits to start this game for Chatham, who has first and second, and nobody out.
What a wacky play. Big chopper that Truitt had to wait to come down. He made the right move. He was going to cover the bag. Stallman, the first baseman, fielded it, threw it over to Truitt, but Truitt was running and also trying to find first base at the time with his feet. He couldn't, and Grudzelanek reaches.
Holt moves over to third after his leadoff double. Runners on the corners, nobody out for Caden Kent, the lefty. Here's the pitch. Low and in for a strike. A fastball at 90 from Truitt, trying to work out of a jam. You mentioned that first start against Chatham, went 3 1/3, gave up 2 earned off 4 hits with 3 Ks and a walk. The 0-1 offering. Kent on the ground, right towards Stallman. He throws to second for 1. Penny gets the out, throws to first, and it is in time for the double play. A run does come across the board as there was nobody out. Scoring is Brennan Holt, and this game tied at 1, even after a double play.
Stallman with a really good play. Fielded the chopper, throw to second where Penny was standing. Then he had to rush back to first to cover the bag, and he does in time. 3-6-3, you take the double play with the run scoring.
Game tied at 1 as Kyson Donahue comes to the plate, and the lefty takes a strike on the inner half. A 92-mile-an-hour fastball from Truitt. He gets ahead 0-1.
Now with the bases clear, you want to finish off this inning, keeping him at 1.
The 0-1 misses low in the dirt, blocked up by the catcher, Henry Hunter. Brendan Stallman at first, Joe Oyama at second, Jack Penny at third. Rather, Justin Rubin at third, Jack Penny at short. The 0-1 pitch is high in the air to right, and it's absolutely gone. High to the hill, it ricochets and heads to the street. Chatham takes the lead on a laser beam from Kyson Donahue. 2-1 Chatham, bottom 1, 405 feet off the bat. Third hit of the inning, and the biggest one for Chatham. Joe Oyama with a home run in the first, and Dylan Chatham fires right back in the bottom of the inning.
Donahue got everything of that ball. That was left just a little bit too far toward the middle of the plate, and he smacked it to right. He knew it off the bat, his second home run of the summer.
Chatham leads 2-1 as Truitt now faces Tyler Wolfert, the right fielder, and the right-handed batter. Center field, down for a hit on the second pitch. Wolfert keeps the good times rolling, thinks about going for second. Eddie King throws it in, and now he tracks back to first. 4 hits in 2/3 of an inning for Chatham, who leads 2-1. after the solo shot from Kyson Donahue to right.
Who would have thought we would get a normal game here in Game 2 after a wacky Game 1?
Late season Cape Cod baseball, it's that kind of vibe. Truitt deals a first pitch strike on the inner half to the right-handed third baseman Lane Forsythe, who falls behind 0-1. A 78-mile-per-hour breaking ball from Truitt. The 0-1. Fouled away to the backstop. 0-2. Scored the first run of this game on a double play ball. Hit towards the right side of the infield that scored Brennan Holt. Turned into a 3-6-3 double play turned by Orleans. The second run, a solo shot for Kyson Donahue to right to make it 2-1 Chatham in the bottom of the first. Runner on first, 2 out. Truitt set, deals the 0-2. Low and in, a miss for ball 1.
Good changeup by Truitt inside on the righty in Forsythe, trying to get the swing over the top.
Just trying to get out of a tough inning is Verizon Jr. from Charleston Southern. The 1-2 does not do the job. Misses high with the fastball and evens the count. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Forsythe spent the first 3 years of his collegiate career at Mississippi State, the 5'11" infielder, transferring to Oklahoma State next year. Truitt's 2-2. Foul ball pops out of a glove of Henry Hunter. The throw to first on strike 3, not in time from Henry Hunter. Beating it out on strike 3 is Lane Forsythe, and moving to second is Tyler Wolfert. That should have been inning over. But Dylan, there were some defensive issues in Game 1 that kind of plagued Orleans, and Truitt really needed that to get out of this inning. Instead, 2 on, 2 out.
Yeah, strikeout. The ball went off of Henry Hunter and toward the third base side behind home plate. Hunter threw it, but just a little bit too late. I really like this mound visit by Hunter to Truitt. Reset him, even with 2 on and 2 out. Give him a little deep breath, give him a little rest, and let's get out of this inning is what he's saying to Truitt.
So runners on first and second, 2 out, as the DH, Zach McDonald, comes up for the first time. The righty to face the righty, Truitt. 2-1 Chatham in the bottom of the first. 4 hits in the inning for the A's. Truitt's first pitch. Check swing, held up behind the plate. McDonald did, according to the first base umpire, Joe Labella. 1-0. McDonald waves the bat high above his head. The 1-0. Up and in for a strike, evens the count, a ball and a strike. 2 on, 2 out. Runner on second is Wolford, who singled. Runner on first is Forsythe, who struck out but reached first on a drop, strike 3. The 1-1 on the inner half, it misses towards the waist of McDonald. 2-1.
This Chatham order has a lot of good bats in it. What's been holding them back has been their pitching. They can put up a lot of big runs, and Firebirds are getting that right here.
The 2-1 pitch. Foul down the third base side. 2-2, gloved by one of Chatham's newer coaches at third base in Dustin Williams. A lot of shuffling in the Chatham coaching staff. It's just the second game for acting manager Todd Shelton after interim manager Marty Lees left the team. 2 on, 2 out. The 2-2 pitch is high in the air to left field, shallow left field. Eddie Micheletti, Eddie King Jr., Jack Penny convene. It's caught with the left-handed glove by the left fielder, Eddie Micheletti, to end the inning. 2 base runners stranded for Chatham, but 2 runs come across the board for the A's. One on a double play with nobody out, and another on a 405-foot blast to right from Kyson Donahue. A back-and-forth battle. Can Orleans respond? Down a run at the top of the second. Back on the Birds Broadcast Network in the top of the second. 2-1, Chatham leads Orleans. 7-8-9 due up for the Birds. Starts with the first baseman, making a second straight start at first base, Brandon Stallman. Xander Sechrist back on the mound for his second inning. He misses low, 1-0 to the rising senior from UNC Charlotte. The lefty faces the lefty Sechrist. The 1-0 pitch. Misses high, 2-0 to a bat who has been hot in this lineup, Dylan, ever since he joined the team last week.
Brandon Stallman, a left-handed bat. The Firebirds have a lot of lefties and a lot of position players.
Grounds a 2-0 pitch right to second base. Martin Grudzelanek tosses to first in time to Caden Kent. Doesn't stay hot there. Goes down on 3 pitches as Sechrist tries to settle in after giving up a solo shot to Joe Oyama last inning.
The Firebirds, they have 6 infielders and then 5 more outfielders. It's a question of who's going to get the playing time, right? And everyone brings a different aspect of their game to this team, whether it be speed, whether it be defense, etc. Everyone has a place on this team, and I think that's so important.
Henry Hunter, the left-handed catcher, takes high at a ball, 1-0. It's an Orleans lineup that has 10 hits in each of the last 4 games. The last 3 of those games, all wins for a 20-18 Firebird squad. The 1-0 misses. 2-0 to the Atlanta, Georgia native, Henry Hunter. Heading into his junior season, transferring to the University of Georgia after playing 2 seasons at Alabama, Birmingham. Bases clear, 1 out. Sechrist for 2-0. Misses high. 2 balls and a strike. 2-1 game. Chatham with 2 runs in the bottom of the first inning. 1 on a ground out that turned into a double play ball, and the run scored. 3-1. Sechrist misses up and in. And the other one on a Kyson Donahue home run. Sechrist shakes out the hips to the belt, deals the 3-1. Right down the plate for strike 2. Count is full to Henry Hunter, the only position player for Orleans who did not see the field in game 1. The payoff, foul ball to the netting. We'll do it again. Orleans with 2 hits on the game. The solo shot from Joe Oyama to lead off the first, and then a single from Jack Penny. Sechrist the payoff. Weakly on the ground towards first. Glove by Kent. He flips to the covering Sechrist. His right-handed tap on the bag in time. Really well played by the all-star Caden Kent on a slow grounder. Sechrist with a great reaction and getting the force out of Henry Hunter for out number 2.
Great play by Sechrist. It's the first baseman Kent's job to get the ball, which was a little bit to the left of where he usually plays at first base. Sechrist then runs over, direct path to first base, and gets there in time.
Now I'll bring up the bottom man in the order. Colin Tuft, playing in right field. The righty to face the lefty. Here's the pitch. In for a strike at 86 miles an hour, 0-1. Tuft, who's been excellent defensively, has had an up and down summer offensively, although he is 3 for his last 7 with a home run and 3 runs driven in. The 0-1 is launched to left field, but it dies ahead of a track, and it's caught after ranging to his left by Kyson Donahue. After a shaky first inning in which he allowed 2 hits, Xander Sechrist settles in and goes 1-2-3 against the bottom of the order versus Orleans in the second. It stays 2-1 Chatham. We go to the bottom of the second on the Birds Broadcast Network. Evan Truitt gave up 4 hits in the first inning in his 7th start of the summer, trying to calm it down in the bottom of the second. Orleans trails Chatham 2-1 in the second leg of a doubleheader. 8-9-1 due up for the A's. It starts with the catcher, the right-handed Jaden Melendez. Truitt deals, and the righty misses up and away with the fastball at 91 miles an hour, 1-0. Truitt gave up 4 hits, 2 earned runs, and struck out 1 in the first. His 1-0 pitch, in for a strike, another fastball. It evens to count 1-1.
And here's a great opportunity to get back onto the horse. Truitt's been really good after maybe a shaky inning. He's been so good at getting back to what works for him, which is the fastball, the slider, the two-seamer, and the changeup, the 4-pitch mix from Truitt.
2 balls and a strike. Truitt fires away and misses low. 3-1. Truitt allowed the first base runner to reach last inning. Brendan Holt on a double. The 3-1. Misses low. That's a leadoff walk. First walk handed out by Truitt on the game. A 5-pitch at bat for Jaden Melendez, as Chatham tries to add on to the 2-1 advantage in the bottom of the second. They go to the bottom man in the order, shortstop Derek Fabian, another righty.
Fabian batted last in game 1 of the doubleheader last Friday as a ball gets away in left field. And he was really good. He had 2 hits that game, including an RBI double. This is not your normal 9-hitter.
Fabian, one of the best players in Cape Cod this month. Just finished up his sophomore season at Florida, an Ocala, Florida native, just outside Orlando. Here's the pitch. Foul the other way to right. 0-1. Wearing the blue and orange elbow guard on his left elbow, representing his school, the Gators. Only played in 22 games this past spring for a team that made it all the way to the College World Series championship and lost to LSU. The 0-1 misses up and in to even the count at 1-1. Put up good numbers for the Gators in limited action, hitting .290 with a .480 slug. With Chatham, he's hit just under .400 on the year. The 1-1 in for a strike on the upper third. The fastball does the trick. Truitt gets ahead 1-2 with a runner on first and nobody out. That runner being Jaden Melendez after he walked. The 2-1. Chopped weakly to third base. It's foul. It got the foot of Fabian before it leaked into the infield grass, and it evens the count 2-2.
Truitt's been throwing strikes, and that's what he's been doing all summer. Not someone to walk a lot of batters. So Melendez walk was something that usually doesn't happen, but he's right back on the horse. He's throwing strikes to Fabian, trying to get a double play ball.
30 pitches for Truitt, 18 strikes. The 2-2 is high in the air to shallow left center field. Fenwick Trimble comes in, Jack Penny backpedals, but Eddie King loses his hat and makes the catch. Right near the infield dirt, the center fielder showing off his range, darting towards his right and recording the first out of the inning.
They always say that it's the center fielder's ball if he calls it. He has the majority of the ruling in the outfield, and Eddie King does a good job of getting to the spot, calling it, and making the catch on a ball that was in no man's land.
2-1 Chatham, bottom 2. Back to the top of the order with the left-handed Brennan Holt. Truitt lets it fly. Misses low, 1-0. Holt doubled his first time up and scored after Caden Kent grounded into a 3-6-3 double play with nobody out to score the first run of the game for the A's. Scored the second on a solo home run from Kyson Donahue. The 1-0 misses up and away for ball 2. 2 balls, no strikes.
Truitt gets the fly out of Fabian. Now against the top of the order, he has to change up what he did in the first inning.
Truitt checks in on the runner at first, Jaden Melendez. The catcher slides in head first. Covered by Brandon Stallman, who didn't make a start at first base this summer for Orleans, heading into this doubleheader tonight. Truitt's 2-0 is popped up to shallow center field. Eddie King circles the ball, moves up a few paces towards the infield and makes the catch. Popped up on the 2-0 pitch on the fly out to center is Holt. Back-to-back outs made by Chatham. 1 on, 2 out. The score stays 2-1 A's.
Truitt getting fly balls to good parts of the ballpark, as in not the warning track and not over the wall. But he's getting outs, and he's getting under barrels. That's so important.
That's what Truitt has done all summer as he faces Bryce Martin Grudzelanek, the righty, whose first pitch to him is launched to right field, tailing towards the outfielder who leaps and catches it. It's Colin Tuft, who shows off his super athleticism and ends the inning. After a leadoff walk from Jana Melendez, Evan Truitt records 3 straight outs, keeps the game where it is. Chatham up 2-1 after 2. We go to the top of the 3rd on the Birds Broadcast Network.
Welcome back to the Birds Broadcast Network. I'm Sammy Miller. Chatham is currently up 2-1, heading to the top of the 3rd. Now, last week the Firebirds and Anglers had a doubleheader. For many of the Birds, it was their first time ever playing in a doubleheader, and for those that have before, they haven't played in one for a very long time. Now that they have one in the books, they are able to learn from what worked well for them as well as things they could improve on. A big takeaway that the players shared with me is that in between games, they're not only trying to fuel up with protein bars and power drinks, but also try to keep their body moving as much as they can. Not only for the physical side of the game, but also mentally. They said it keeps them locked in for the game coming up, so they never allow themselves to stray out of the zone. Now, Joe Oyama did this perfectly given that beautiful leadoff home run. Guys, back to you.
Sammy, I don't know what power drink, what energy bar Joe Oyama has packed, but whatever he is eating, it is working. Because he's got 4 hits in his last 2 games, and 3 of them are for home runs. The only run scored today from Orleans was a solo shot from Joe Oyama in the first off Xander Sechrist. And he leads off here in the top of the 3rd, facing the same exact left-handed pitcher in a southpaw duel. 2 hits for Orleans, both of them back in the first inning. Sechrist fires. Oyama checks his swing but did not hold up. He takes his strike 0-1.
A home run by Oyama last time out. RBI single, 2 RBIs on the day after the RBI single in game 1. But I think what's so important is that in that 9th inning, Ian, Oyama wasn't part of it. It proved how deep this lineup can be and how everyone can bring something new to the table. Jack Penny, Eddie Micheletti, Matt Hallback, Eddie King, etc. Owen Carpellotti.
2-1. Another miss upstairs from Sechrist.
This team can hurt you in so many different ways, and they're not based around 1 or 2 players.
Joe Oyama's been the best player, but he's on a one-man band. The 2-1. Fouled high to the backstop, 2-2. We saw it Wednesday in the 13 win against Falmouth. On the road, the Birds tied their season high in runs scored, had 15 hits. Joe Oyama had his first off day in 30 days. Didn't need him to do it, but you'll always take his contributions. The 2-2 offering, swing and a miss. The high fastball retires Joe Oyama on 5 pitches, and Sechrist gets his revenge after Oyama's solo shot in the first.
Sechrist has really started to lock in ever since the first inning. He's now retired 5 in a row.
That was his first strikeout. Went 1-2-3 last inning. Sechrist deals to the right-handed Justin Rubin, who sends the first pitch high in the sky to center field. Brennan Holtz under it, and he makes the catch just ahead of his hat for out number 2. Bases cleared, 2 out. Chatham, the 2-1 lead in the top of the 3rd after a scoreless second frame.
More good contact from the Firebirds, but they seem to be getting under a lot of Sechrist's pitches, which means they're popping a lot of them up.
Jack Penny, who popped a pitch up in the right field in his first time up against Sechrist, takes a ball as the Tennessee pitcher misses high for ball 1, 1-0 in this lefty-on-lefty matchup. Penny, the all-star starter at third base for the East Division team, hitting .280 on the year. The breaking ball in for a strike, up and in. Evens the count of ball and a strikes to the Wakefield, Massachusetts native. Born and raised just 20 minutes outside of Boston. The 1-1. Misses, and it's 2-1.
Penny so disciplined at the plate. He will wait until a pitch in his zone is there for the taking and then put a good swing on it.
The 2-1 pitch is swung on and missed. 2-2 at a pitch that landed on the lower third. Sechrist has not gotten that call much throughout this game, but Penny swings through it, and it evens the count. Trying to go 1-2-3 for the second inning in a row. The 2-2 offering is popped up in the air to left and out of play. We'll do it one more time with nobody on and 2 out in a 2-1 game that Chatham leads. Penny right back into the left-handed batter's box. Levitates the bat over his left shoulder. The 2-2 is lined on a hop to Martin Grudzelanek. Throws the first, gets the out, and another very quick half inning for Chatham defensively. Back-to-back 1-2-3 frames from Xander Sechrist. Keeps it a 2-1 game in Chatham's favor. After 2.5, we go to the bottom of the third. Chatham still leads on the Birds Broadcast Network. Bottom of the third on the Birds Broadcast Network. Chatham leads Orleans on a gorgeous night from Veterans Park. 2-1. 81 degrees. The sun begins to set. The Anglers scoreless in the second inning after 2 runs in the first. 3, 4, and 5 due up. It starts with the left-handed first baseman, Caden Kent. The righty Truitt deals. First pitch swinging. High pop up to right in foul territory. Brandon Stallman gives it a look, and it's out of play. 0-1.
Good attendance tonight for a Friday night here in Chatham. Not only are the stands filled, but a lot of room down that first base line where that ball landed. It'll be a scramble to get that foul ball.
Always going to be a packed park, especially on a great night for the Chatham Mays. The 0-1 misses high, 1-1. Caden Kent, an all-star for Chatham this year. The people have been impressed by his play, despite a tough season for Chatham. Leads the team in games played and runs scored while batting around 300. 1-1, also upstairs, 2-1 with the fastball missing. Kent comes from baseball royalty. His father, Jeff, played nearly 2 decades in the major leagues, 5-time All-Star. The 2-1 misses high, most known for his 2000 campaign, where he was the NL MVP. Before that, a star in the Cape Cod Baseball League. Did not play for Chatham. Actually played for Katuitt. The 3-1 pitch. Popped up and foul to left. The count is full. One of 3 All-Stars this summer for a Chatham A's team. That's 10-26-2. On pace to miss the playoffs for a 3rd consecutive year. The payoff. Another foul ball to left.
A year where everything went wrong, including the pitching. So much of a revolving door, this roster, where they couldn't find a streak of everyone coming together on the same page.
The 3-2 pitch. On the ground, towards second, Oyama backhands it, throws across his body to first and gets the out. Oyama had to make a tough play. That ball was rolling towards second base. Range towards his right, threw it across his body to Brandon Stallman to get the first out of the third inning.
What a play by Oyama on the backhand to get a guy like Ken who doesn't have a lot of speed, but you have to make an accurate throw, and Joe Oyama did just that. A really good defensive play by him.
4 in a row retired by Evan Truitt, thanks to a steady defense. He faces another lefty in Kyson Donahue, who takes the first pitch for a ball, 1-0. Bases clear, 1 out. Chatham the 2-1 lead, in the bottom of a third. The 1-0 and for a strike to even the count. Not the last time Orleans is set to play here against Chatham. Swing and a miss, 1-2. These two teams will match up in the regular season finale from Eldridge Park next Wednesday. Fast approaching. Orleans already locked into a playoff spot. Their season will continue. The 1-2 is shot to center field and down in the right center field gap for a hit. Eddie King doesn't scoop it up. It hits the wall. Donahue, a great game. A solo shot in the first and a double standing up at second for the Hawaii Rainbow Warrior. 5th hit of a game for Chatham.
A good swing by Donahue. The lefty gets it in the right center field. There's just some guys you see really well, and right now Donahue sees Truitt really well.
Tyler Wolford also saw Truitt well in the first inning when he singled off him right after that solo shot from Donahue. Can he potentially drive in Donahue, who's on second? The righty swings at the first pitch, chops it towards Jack Penny, who drops it behind second base and holds on to it after he scooped it. Reaching first is Wolfert. Runners on the corners, 1 out. We'll see how it's scored.
I'd probably rule that one a hit. I think that was a tough play by Jack Penny. Had to go behind second base, then make a throw across his body, and that's what the ruling is, a hit.
Back-to-back hits, now 6 against Evan Truitt in 2 1/3. Runners on the corners, 1 out. Here's Lane Forsythe. Righty on righty. First pitch from Truitt, misses high, 1-0. Trying to work out of another jam after he had retired 4 in a row. Back-to-back hits for Chatham. The 1-0 on the way. Swung on to Joe Oyama at second. Gets it to Penny at second for 1. Throws to first. Brandon Stallman, another double play. 4-6-3. Oyama, Penny, Stallman. Crisis averted for Orleans. Truitt gets exactly what he needs, grounding into the double play and ending the inning. 2-1, Chatham leads. After 3, we go to the top of the 4th on the Birds Broadcast Network. Top of the fourth on the Birds Broadcast Network, here from Veterans Field. Orleans trails 2-1 to Chatham. Neither team has scored in the last 2 innings. The leadoff man, batting cleanup on the night, Fenwick Trimble, trying to change that. Sechrist deals his breaking ball in for a strike, 0-1. Sechrist, his 4th inning on the bump. He's allowed 2 hits, 1 earned run, a strikeout, and a walk. Joe Oyama started this game with a home run. That's where the earned run comes into effect. The 0-1 misses low, and Trimble, close, evens the count at a ball and a strike. Righty on lefty. The southpaw deals the 1-1. Misses low with the 89-mile-an-hour fastball and gets behind 2-1. Trimble has struggled this summer against Chatham. Only 1 for 10 across 4 games against the A's headed into tonight. The 2-1 taken for ball 3, a low miss with the off-speed pitch from Sechrist. Trimble 0 for 1 tonight. He flew out to left in the 1st inning. Just finished up his junior season at James Madison. Sechrist kick steals the 3-1. Lands one on the lower third for a strike. Trimble thought he had a walk. That pitch just a little bit low of his own. But it gets the call from Fred to Jesus behind the plate. Nobody on, nobody out. A full count to the leadoff man, Trimble. Here's the pitch. Foul the other way to right and way out of play.
Ian, although the numbers maybe don't reflect it just yet, I think Fenway Trimble's having some of the best at-bats, not only of his summer, but of the team. He's hitting the ball really hard. I think the Falmouth game is indicative of what he can do going forward. He's truly making good contact.
Trimble, his 5th multiple hit game of the year. He strikes out. However, to lead off the inning. Back-to-back innings in which Sechrist has struck out the first batter. And now it's Eddie Micheletti Jr. with nobody on and 1 out, the lefty, to face the lefty Sechrist. Trimble went 2 for 5 in that win against Falmouth on Wednesday with a double and 2 runs driven in. Breaking ball up in the zone for a strike. Micheletti goes behind 0 for 1. Like Trimble, he flew out to left in the 1st. Sechrist v 0-1. Popped up, foul territory, left field side. Underneath the ball is Lane Forsythe. He makes the catch with 2 hands towards the left side of his own dugout for out number 2.
Sechrist has done a great job ever since that 1st inning, and he's on a roll, Ian. 3 straight outs in the 1st, and no one's gotten a hit ever since that 1st inning. 11 straight retired?
Your math is correct. 3 straight in the 1st, 1, 2, 3 in the 2nd, 1, 2, 3 in the 3rd, and out away from doing it once again here in the 4th. He deals to Eddie King, who swings and misses at the 75-mile-an-hour curve. 0-1. Bases empty, 2 out. King grounded out to end the 1st inning. The 0-1, another whiff. 0-2. Another pitch thrown in the mid-70s from Sechrist. Gets the whiff, who is on cruise control ever since allowing that leadoff home run to Joe Oyama in the 1st inning. Bases cleared, 2 out, no balls, 2 strikes. Here's the pitch. It misses low with the fastball for ball 1.
Eddie King might have had the play of the day in game 1 with a sac bunt in the 9th inning that allowed runners to move over before the Firebirds scored the go-ahead run on a wild pitch.
Does not make a big play, however, here in the 4th. He strikes out in 4 pitches. Xander Sechrist is tearing it up for Chatham. He's retired 12 in a row since the 1st inning. And the A's still lead 2-1. We go to the bottom of the 4th on the Birds Broadcast Network. Back on the Birds Broadcast Network in the bottom of the fourth. Thanks so much for joining us. Orleans trails 2-1 and has a new pitcher on the mound. But first, the final line, Dylan, on Evan Truitt in his 7th start of the summer.
I think Evan Truitt was really gutsy tonight. I think that's the word I would use for his outing. 3 innings, 6 hits, 2 runs, and 1 walk and 1 strikeout. That double play at the end of the third was huge for him to get out of it. And he performed. He gave 3 innings in 2 runs. You'll take that every single time from any starter.
The new pitcher is Colton Sundloff, the 6'5", 210-pound righty from the University of San Diego. Spent his first 2 years collegiately at Oklahoma. Foul ball on the first pitch from Zach McDonald, the designated hitter. He goes behind 0-1. Righty on righty. Sundloff, the 0-1 pitch. Upstairs for ball 1. It evens the count. Sundloff throws from a very low arm angle. Has about a 3-pitch mix, which includes a sinker, a changeup, and a slider. His 1-1. Low and in for ball 2. McDonald ahead 2-1. He flew out to left to end the first inning. 2-1 Chatham, bottom 4. The 2-1, swing and a miss to even the count.
Sundloff can really bring a different arm angle out of this bullpen. Him and Cole Glassburn are 2 names that I feel are similar. Sidewinders from the right side.
The 2-2 is cracked to third, spinning and fielding it is Rubin. His throw to first on a hop, not gloved by Brandon Stallman. One heck of an effort from Justin Rubin, to throw a little bit short, a tough play to make for Brandon Stallman. And reaching is the leadoff man in McDonald. It goes down as an error on Orleans.
Good stop by Rubin on the hard hit ball with the speedy runner in McDonald. Hard to catch him at first.
First error of the game for either team. McDonald reaches to start the inning. Here's Jaden Melendez, the right-handed catcher, who's the first pitch he sees is rocketed to left and moving towards his right. The catch is made on the line by Fenwick Trimble.
What a catch by Trimble. His defense has been so big for this team. For Orleans this summer, moves to his right near the foul line and catches the line drive. The Firebirds defense has had its ups, has had its downs, but the outfield defense has been really good today.
Trimble in left, King in center, Tuft in right, all of them good athletes. Here's the bottom man in the order, Derek Fabian, another righty to face for right-handed Sundloff. Who deals? Gets the whiff on the 77-mile-an-hour offering. 0-1. Originally from Erda, Utah. Only making his 2nd appearance for the Firebirds. Sundloff last pitched 8 days ago against Hyannis. His 0-1 pitch on the way. In for a strike with the fastball. 0-2.
And that was his first appearance as a Firebird, too. So he gets the debut out of the way, and now we can really lock in.
Had 2 up-and-down seasons with Oklahoma, but hitting the reset button at the University of San Diego. No balls and 2 strikes. Sundloff lets it fly and misses high with a 90-mile-an-hour offering. Still ahead in the count, 1-2. Runner on first is McDonald, who reached on an error to start this inning. He takes his lead being held on by Stallman. New pitcher is Colton Sundloff. And a 2-1 game. The 1-2 is fouled off by Fabian, and the count stays where it is.
Sundloff is going to get guys out by getting a lot of ground balls. His sinker is his go-to pitch. Keeping the ball low and hoping that hitters swing over it and keep the ball in the infield on the ground.
He knows how to get it done here on the Cape, his 2nd year in the league. His 1-2 pitch is grounded down the third base line and foul, just past the bag. Another 1-2 awaits him. Spent last summer with the Brewster Whitecaps of the East Division, just like the Orleans Firebirds. Appeared in 7 games with a start. Had an 8.6 ERA, but only pitched 7 1/3. Struggled with handing out free passes. 8 walks compared to 8 strikeouts. Did not pitch a lot during his sophomore season at Oklahoma. The 1-2 to Fabian. Misses in the dirt and blocked up by Henry Hunter. That's big with the runner at first and Zach McDonald, who reached on an error.
Sunloff is going to need a good catcher when back there. He loves to keep the ball low, at times even lower in the dirt to get swing and miss. Henry Hunter is that guy. He's been so great defensively.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Line right towards Penny on a hop at short, underhand flip to Oyama, second to throw to first in time. Another double play. 6-4-3. The third double play turned by Orleans in 4 innings. And that ends 4 innings of play. 2-1. Chatham still in front after 3 scoreless frames. Dylan back on the mic as we go to the top of the 5th on the Birds Broadcast Network.
Back here on the Birds Broadcast Network, we go to the 5th inning between the Firebirds and Chatham here in Game 2 of the doubleheader. It starts to get a little bit darker. The lights are on here at Veterans Field in Chatham. Brandon Stallman, Henry Hunter, and Colin Tuft are the batters. 7-8-9 for Orleans in the 5th against Xander Sechrist, who has been on a roll, and then some. First pitch to Stallman is a little bit low for ball 1 with the fastball, clocking in at 87 miles per hour.
Sechrist has retired 12 in a row after a rocky start.
Sechrist kicks and deals the 1-0 to Stallman. Checked his swing. He didn't go around ball 2 in just 58 pitches. Sechrist has pitched 4 innings of 1-run ball, which didn't start out too good. The 2-0 to Stallman is smacked into center field for a base hit. A leadoff single for Brandon Stallman cuts that 12 straight streak and creates a streak for Orleans. A base hit here in the 5th.
The one part of Brandon Stallman's game that I'd love to see as the season comes to a close in a regular season is the power in his bat. And that was a hard hit single. You said smacked and you were right. 93 off the bat according to TrackMan. He's got more than just single hitting power.
Up is Henry Hunter. Takes the first pitch, ball low and outside. On first is Stallman. The Firebirds chasing 1, down 2-1 here in the 5th. All the runs scored in the first inning. 1 for Orleans, 2 for the Anglers. A check over on first. Stallman dives back against the lefty Sechrist. A base hit for Stallman. Had a good game in game 1. Another hit in that one. And he only had a few at-bats to do it because he didn't start in the lineup that day. The 1-0 outside to Hunter, 2-0. That's back-to-back times. Sechrist has fallen behind 2-0 to batters. And the catcher, Melendez, comes out to talk to Sechrist on the mound.
A couple of Georgia natives going at it here. Henry Hunter from Snellville. Xander Sechrist from Buford. Hunter has been really good this season defensively. I know you mentioned it earlier on in a game. From the plate, he's been up and down. But this is another bat with a lot of potential. Grounded out in the 2nd. Orleans could really use him down the stretch to warm up a bit from the plate.
Hunter last played 3 days ago against Wareham and had a big hit, an RBI single down the left field line. The 2-0 to Hunter is pulled off the glove of the first baseman, Kent, and he picks it up and everybody's safe. It was a ground ball into the hole. Kent had it knocked off his glove and almost went into shallow right field. Moving to second is Stallman. On first is Hunter. Still nobody out here in the 5th, and up comes Colin Tuft.
They rule it a hit. That would be a really difficult play to make for Kent, who had to move a long way to his right in the hole. And backhand it. It ricochets off the glove.
Tuft, the batter, the right-handed hitter, flew out in the 2nd on a hard-hit ball. Seeker still on the mound, now allowing 2 straight runners to reach. Tuft squares to bunt, pulls back. It's a ball. Melendez faked the throw back to first, where Kent was guarding the bag. Hunter was running back. If Tuft bunts this ball, he's going to try to get Stallman and Hunter to 3rd and 2nd, respectively, and bunt this either right back at Sechrist or down the first base line. He squares the bunt again, gets it into foul territory. It was popped up, and Melendez almost dove to make the catch. It was just out of his reach. Strike 1.
Heck of an effort from Melendez. Did not need to make that diving attempt. You know, it's been a down season for Chatham, and it's good to see that these guys are still playing, trying to make every single play despite a high level of difficulty.
The count is 1-1 to Tuft after the failed bunt attempt. See if he tries it one more time. Sechrist looks at second. He does square around. He gets it down, but foul. Tried to go third base side. It bounced on the chalk line and went foul. 2 strikes on Tuft, and the runners retreat on the foul ball.
This is a big moment in this game. 3 scoreless innings between both of these teams. You fail to lay down the bunt if you're Colin Tuft. Now the approach has to change. You have to shorten up. He's got good power. With 2 runners on, Orleans, I think you need to at least tie the game here.
Tuft has been heating up from the plate as of recently. Sechrist steals the 1-2, fouled back by Tuft.
And if anything, just continue to drive the pitch count up on Sechrist. He sits at 67 pitches through 4 innings. He's been lights out since the first.
Like you said, Ian, his first start of the summer as well. He is not a starter. Over at Tennessee, he relieved for the most part. The 1-2 is outside.
Well, he started in 12 games out of 23, but he only pitched in 31 innings. So whenever he did start, it was in an opening role or it was in a bullpen day. He's only pitched 83 innings across 48 appearances with the Vols.
2-2 the count against Tuft. Lefty Sechrist kicks and deals. Tuft takes strike 3 on a ball at the bottom of the zone. First out recorded is a backwards K of Colin Tuft, and it'll bring up Joe Oyama.
It's funny because Sechrist has not been getting that call all day from Fred DeJesus. But he gets it there in a big spot. And even after the strikeout, interim manager Todd Shelton heads towards the mound and could be taking the ball from Sechrist after a really good start, but with 2 runners on.
2 runners on, a pitch count that's climbing. Shelton out to the mound, has not made the motion yet. 2 on, it'll go back to the top of the order, so Sechrist will see Oyama for a 3rd time. Home run and a strikeout, the best result and one that you don't want if you're a batter of a strikeout. Sechrist is going to stay in this game.
Give credit to Shelton, who steps into a tough spot, being the acting manager of a Chatham team that's almost eliminated from playoff contention with under a week to go. He's going to give Sechrist a shot to prove that he can last a full 5 innings and work through some traffic with 2 on and 1 out. That's how you keep this team intact, how you motivate guys to continue to give it their all, despite this being only a 10-win Chatham team.
Bottom of the 5th. On second is Stallman. On first is Hunter. Oyama at the plate here in the top of the 5th inning. Sechrist still on the mound. His first pitch to Oyama is low. Like I said, Oyama 1 for 2. He started out this game with a home run, a solo shot that it's given Orleans its 1 and only run so far. They're down 2-1 to Chatham. A comeback win in game 1. They're going to need another comeback here in game 2. Oyama, a chopper to first, but foul. Picked up by Kent, but in foul territory.
These are the kinds of games Orleans is going to have to win probably often if it wants to make a deep playoff run. Give credit to Chatham for giving Orleans a great test on the road. Division rivalry, first place still alive, and the A's aren't going away.
Count 1-1 against Oyama with 1 out. Sechrist deals. Oyama swings and misses. Had him over the top on a 77-mile-per-hour off-speed pitch.
This is where Oyama is still at his best, even with 2 strikes. You know, he's hit 5 home runs in the last week. A lot of them have been quick leadoff shots, but he's still been just as good, even behind an account.
An RBI single in game 1. A solo shot in game 2. Down 1-2 in the count. Pulls it to the first baseman, Kent. Throw to second in time. Back to first. Not in time, and Kent grabs it out of midair. If that got away, coming from third would be Stallman to score. So a fielder's choice. Forced out is Hunter at second base. 2 outs, runners on the corners, and here comes Justin Rubin.
That's what Joe Oyama does, right? Even if he hits the ball into a tough spot, he's going to run as fast as he can and beat it out a good amount of the time. And the inning stays alive, and you move a runner just 90 feet away from a score.
That's exactly what they did in the 9th inning of game 1. They gave them a go-ahead run on a wild pitch. First pitch to Rubin is low. Oyama at first, Stallman at third. 2 outs here in the top of the 5th. Chatham leads 2-1. Sechrist, his pitch count. It's getting up there. 82. Next pitch, 83. Check over on Oyama at first. Kent toss it right back to the pitcher.
Oyama with 5 stolen bases on the year, but 2 outs, probably not likely here.
Sechrist looks over at first, and he'll throw over once more. He'll take a hit from Rubin, who walked in the first and flew out in the third. Did not play since Sunday before game 1. Came in as a defensive replacement at third base. Another check over on Oyama at first. Make that 3 times. Sechrist down 1-0 in the count to Rubin. The 1-0 pitch is a bunt that's foul, just foul. Rubin was trying to bunt it for a hit. With 2 outs, of course, looking to reach. And a good spot to put it as the third baseman, Forsythe, is playing a little bit behind the bag. But the bunt that looked to stay on the chalk line just went foul and picked up by Melendez. Count 1-1.
I know football is usually referred to as a game of inches, but there, that could have been huge and an unlucky break for Rubin. A smart decision.
1-1. Another check over on Oyama.
You know, Rubin has found a way to make an impact in almost every single game this summer in search of his 13th game with a hit and 16 tries on the year.
Receive the 1-1 line drive into left center field for a base hit. Into score is Stallman. To third is Oyama. And to second is Rubin. He dives head first. A game-tying RBI double from Justin Rubin. 2-2.
Justin Rubin continues to impress this summer with 2 outs. Ties the game at 2.
And up comes Jack Penny. On third is Oyama. On second is Rubin, and they're going to go to the bullpen. Todd Shelton, who came out to talk with Sechrist earlier in the inning, will now pull the lefty out of Tennessee. We'll head to the break. We'll be right back. Second and third with 2 outs for the Birds. Tie game, 2-2, top 5. Game on the Birds Broadcast Network. Liam Paddock comes in out of the bullpen for Chatham, a left-handed pitcher to face the left-handed Jack Penny. On second base is Justin Rubin after a game-tying RBI double. On third is Joe Oyama. Tie game 2-2 of the top of the fifth between Orleans and Chatham.
Paddock has been a somewhat reliable option out of a bullpen for Chatham this year. His 8th appearance, 7th out of a pen. A 5.3 ERA in 17 innings pitched. Last pitched on the 19th in a 12-12 tie at Catuit. And went 3 1/3. He can give you some length. He's pitched over 3 innings in each of his last 2 appearances for the A's. And in his last 7 innings pitched, has given up 4 earned runs off 5 hits with 5 strikeouts and 3 walks. Transferring to Gonzaga after spending time at local Spokane Community College.
That's right, Spokane CEC over to Gonzaga, which is also in Spokane. So let's set it up for you. Runners on second and third, 2 outs, top of the fifth, tie game 2-2 here in game 2 of the doubleheader. It is a full 9-inning game after game 1 was just a resumption of a different game on July 5th. Penny the batter, who singled in the first and grounded out in the third. Rubin ties the game. Can Penny give them the lead against the left-handed Paddock? His 8th appearance on the season. First pitch, foul ball. Hit the knob of Penny's bat. Paddock gets a lucky strike, pun intended.
His stuff is legit. He might catch a few breaks here and there, but somebody who's averaged over 12 strikeouts per 9 at the JUCO level and has 16 Ks in 17 innings this summer.
Paddock takes a deep breath. The 0-1 is low.
Especially for a Chatham team that has struggled to pitch, both starting options and bullpen options. Paddock, similar to how Orleans has responded, trying to keep the game where it is.
He comes set at the belt. The 1-1 to Penny, a big curveball in for a strike on the outside corner at 74 miles per hour. Pitch clock is in effect here in Chatham as it's counting down every time Paddock gets the ball back from the catcher Melendez. 1-2, 2 outs with 2 on. The pitch from Paddock, ground ball to second base. Martin Grudzelanek gathers it up and tosses out Penny for out number 3. The Firebirds tie the game at 2, an RBI single, or RBI double by Justin Rubin. 2-2 the score as we go to the bottom of the 5th. We go to the bottom of the 5th here on the Birds Broadcast Network. Colton Sunloff back on for another inning of work. After a clean 4th, he fires a strike to the left-handed hitter, Brennan Holt, the leadoff man for Chatham. Holt led off this game on the first pitch from Evan Truitt with a double. Came around to score. And then flew out in the second. Holt lays down a bunt, but foul. Picked up by Hunter in the left-handed batter's box. 0-2 to the leadoff man here in the fifth. Sunloff allowed a runner on an error, line out, and then got a double play. So a pretty clean inning for Sunloff. No hits, no walks. Count 0-2 against Holt. Sunloff from the windup. The sidewinder fires. It's launched into right. Back goes Tuft at the track. He makes the catch. Colin Tuft makes it look really easy out there. Holt hit that ball at 93 miles per hour. Tuft made it look like a walk in the park.
Well, it stays in the park, luckily. A 332-foot blast to right. Not necessarily extremely deep, but that would be gone in some places. Would probably be gone at Eldridge.
That's right.
But Tuft, who's got really good athleticism with a good snag.
Up comes Bryce Martin Grudzelanek. First pitch is a strike at 77 from Sunloff. A sinker, a changeup, and a slider. From the right-hander who's going from Oklahoma to U of San Diego in the fall. The 0-1, just a little bit high, 1-1. Sunloff said he just wanted to change of scenery. And why not in San Diego? Not a bad place to live and play baseball. The 1-1 to Grudzelanek is low.
I think Sunloff is somebody that could be an X factor for this Orleans bullpen as this season winds down. They need him to be really good, and he has been so far.
2 innings pitch, now 2 1/3. The 2-1 to Martin Grudzelanek is in for a strike. Another guy in this bullpen that doesn't come out and throw 100, but is going to really position his pitches really well in the zone.
Well, he still has a signature pitch, although it's not a 99-mile-an-hour fastball.
The 2-2 to Martin Grudzelanek, pulled on the ground to Penny at third. Check that, Rubin, his throw in time, and keeping his foot on the bag is Stallman. 5-3 in the book for out number 2.
That was a really good feat of athleticism from Stallman to keep his lower body on the bag while still lunging towards the outfield on not the perfect throw from Justin Rubin. You know, Matt Holback said it in an interview with Sammy Miller when they sat down together. He takes pride in having the ability to make up for throws that are somewhat offline towards first, and Stallman kind of picking up where Holback has been dominating all year at first base.
Holback has started a few games in a row as well. Good to get him off his feet, at least for game 2. Sunloff gets a swing and a miss out of Kent on the 91-mile-per-hour slider, or sinker, I should say. 2 years at Oklahoma for Sunloff. It'll be in San Diego in the fall. Kent pulls it to first base, keeping the glove down is Stallman. He'll touch first base for the third out of the inning. 1-2-3 goes Sunloff in the fifth. The Firebirds pitching staff continues to be great as we go to the sixth. 2-2 tie score.
Welcome back to the Birds Broadcast Network. I'm Sammy Miller. The game is currently tied 2-2, heading to the top of the sixth. Now, one of the biggest things Kelly Nicholson preaches in Orleans is that effective body language is key. No matter what the scoreboard reads, you have to keep your head up and remain fighting, especially in a game like baseball when anything could happen. Coach loves a quote from the champion's mind reading, "Warriors don't slouch into battle." Ever since day one, he wants his team to be run like an MLB organization, with a big part of that coming down to how his players act. It's easy to have good body language when you're winning and the vibes are high, but it's all about when you're losing if you still have that positive body language. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Sammy. A lot of really good body language from this Firebirds team throughout the entire season. even if some things don't go their way or they have a streak of 2 or 3 straight losses, you never see this team go into a shell, Ian.
You don't. You know, I go back to a quote Justin Rubin told us in a post-game interview about a week ago on cooling down. Every game Orleans has trailed or lost this season, they don't lose easily. They're always fighting back. They're always keeping things interesting. And sometimes they'll sneak up on you and pull one from behind.
They did that in game 1. Down 1 in the 9th inning. First pitch to Fenwick Trimble of a tie game. 2-2 as we go to the top of the 6th inning. The first pitch is a ball to Trimble. Liam Paddock, the lefty, back out here in the 6th after getting the last out of the 5th, stranding 2 base runners. The 1-0 to Trimble is fouled back. The Firebirds have played a doubleheader against Chatham this summer, just a week ago from today, and split the doubleheader. And doubleheaders as a whole, Ian, are very hard to sweep, no matter who you're playing.
It's just a lot of baseball. It's really tough to be on your game for so long.
The 1-1 to Trimble is outside.
Last week, Orleans, just plain simple, wasn't playing its best baseball in that doubleheader. Lost 6-3 in game 1. Probably should have been a little bit more out of reach. Game 2, you scrape by 4-3, although you commit multiple errors and leave probably a few too many guys on.
2-1, high and way outside, 3-1.
That's the thing about baseball is you don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be close to perfect through 7 innings to win a game. You need to come up with the big hits when they matter. Whether it was Eddie Micheletti, Jack Penny, or Owen Carpellotti with that sac fly, Orleans split it.
3-1 to Trimble, swung through on the fastball from Paddock at 89. And even if some other guys aren't having their best day, we saw it in game 1. It was the Jack Penny show. The Eddie Micheletti had a big hit. Matt Hallback had a single in that 9th inning. He came around to score the game-tying run. And then here in game 2, Justin Rubin with the RBI double. Joe Oyama with a home run. It proves the depth of this team. Full count to Trimble with nobody out, nobody on. In the top of the 6th, Trimble smacks it the other way to right field. Back goes Wolford on the track. He makes the catch. Another hard hit ball from Fenwick Trimble. Off his bat at 87 miles per hour. A 326-foot flyout. Another hard hit ball that doesn't go the Firebirds' way.
Orleans cannot catch a break to take the lead. Give credit to Chatham and the defense, understanding what kind of ballpark this is. And a lot of new guys coming in, but knowing that the defense has your back, even if the ball is put in play deep into the outfield.
Eddie Micheletti, the batter, takes a strike on the off-speed pitch from Paddock. Trimble has been hitting the ball hard in the last 4 or 5 games. That was just another example. 1 out, nobody on. In the 6th, the 0-1 to Micheletti is low and outside. Warming up in the Firebirds bullpen is Cole Glassburn. Made his first appearance in that Hyannis game. Losing track of the days here, Ian.
Dylan, what's
last Friday?
What's the weekday?
Today's Friday. I know that. Micheletti takes inside. I knew that because a week ago we had the doubleheader against Chatham again.
And it happened to be on a Friday.
It had to be on a Friday.
It's tough. The days are long. The weeks are short. Somebody said that to me before.
The 2-1 count is low and didn't even reach home plate. Paddock bounces it 3-1 to Micheletti. I more remember who the Firebirds play than I do what day of the week it is.
Every day is Firebirds Day.
That's right, almost every day.
On the Birds Broadcast Network.
3-1 to Micheletti with 1 out. The pitch is a fastball for a strike. On the outside corner, Micheletti thought he was walking.
He has a really good command for the strike zone. Struck out just 7% of the time in the spring.
Full count pitch with 1 out to Micheletti is low and outside, and he walks. Flips his bat. He'll head to first with a 1-out walk in the 6th.
It's a great take on a good pitch. Low and away. If that got called a strike, I don't think anybody would have really batted an eye. It was close. But that's what Micheletti provides. A steady presence in the middle of his order who, when he messes up, it's not a big mess up.
Eddie King, the right-handed batter out of Louisville, is up with 1 out. Micheletti on first. He squares around a bunt, gets it down. It's a push bunt, first base side. King racing to first. The toss by Paddock in time. Wow. Liam Paddock dived to the ball, tossed it to first. Kent made the catch while keeping his foot on the bag. Micheletti to second. That was an incredible defensive play by Liam Paddock.
And who says pitchers aren't athletes too? Paddock. I think some of that JUCO baller in him. This guy is transferring to Gonzaga. Good for him. That's a good team in the WCC. But he's out here on a mission to prove that he's going to provide a lot to your team. With a lot of heart, he makes a great play that a lot of pitchers probably wouldn't even attempt to make, and a lot cannot make.
The umpire was checking the ball of Liam Paddock on the mound. Now he'll head back behind the plate. Runner on second, Micheletti Jr. 2 outs. Brandon Stallman takes low. You know, usually we see this in the major leagues and even the minor leagues now regarding sticky stuff. I'm not sure who told the umpire to do it or if he did it on his own, but that was what happened on the mound about 30 seconds ago. 1-0 to Stallman. Paddock kicks and deals. A fastball for a strike.
That's the first time we've seen an umpire this summer, if I'm not mistaken, check the ball of a pitcher. So that's not been an issue here on the Cape. We haven't heard that it's been an issue. But in today's era, unfortunately, it's always in the air.
1-1, low and outside. Gets to the backstop. To third goes Micheletti Jr. A wild pitch from Paddock. Gets past Melendez. Micheletti Jr. ends up at third, 90 feet away, and the count 2-1 on Stallman.
Those are the kinds of mistakes you cannot make in a close game. Now the go-ahead run, 90 feet away.
The lefty Paddock cannot see Micheletti at third, who will take a big lead. 2 outs, 2-1 the count to Stallman. The pitch in there for a strike. A nasty curveball. That out Stallman backing out of the way. Thought he was going to hit him. The pitch curves back into the strike zone. 2-2, 2 outs, runner on third of a tie game at 2. Here in the top of the 6th. The pitch from Paddock, strike 3 called. First strikeout for Liam Paddock. It's a big one on a fastball at 89 to get Stallman on the backwards K. 1 runner left for the Firebirds at third base in the 6th. We'll head to the bottom of the 6th where Chatham comes to bat. 2-2 tie game. from one sidewinder to another. From Colton Sunloff, who threw 2 scoreless innings. Now it's Cole Glassburn, who's heading to Kaiser University in the fall. He's been a lot of places. He started at Catholic. 1 year there, only 2 innings. Then headed to Worcester State for the past 3. He's here in Orleans. He's pitched 1 inning. That was against Hyannis a few days ago. Allowing 2 hits, no runs. He'll face the lefty, Kyson Donahue, who's had a day and a half. A home run and a double in 2 at-bats.
For those who don't know, Kaiser, a powerhouse in the Sun Conference. It's a JUCO in West Palm Beach, Florida. Glassburn originally from Massachusetts. He's been all around.
Been in Mass, been in Maryland for a bit. The 1-0, swing and a miss. Lived in Mass, of course, at school. Actually originally from the DMV area. Donahue, 1-1 the count on him. 2 extra base hits in 2 at-bats. 2-2 game here in the 6th in Chatham. Glassburn's 1-1 over the top. Roll the ball.
Glassburn, similar to Colton Sunloff, who just pitched 2 really good innings. He last pitched on the 23rd against YD in an 8-2 loss, but he looked good. He can give up a run, allowed 2 hits, kept the game where it was for an Orleans offense that struggled early on in the week. Really good numbers at the JUCO level. With Worcester State this past year, a sub-2.6 ERA. And he was used as a starter, so he can give you some length. 9 starts and 11 appearances and just under 60 innings pitched.
That pitch ruled a strike as the umpire came out to talk with Glassburn and Hunter, who made his way to the mound. The 1-2 pitch, again over the top for a ball. Glassburn throws a fastball, a sinker, and a changeup, along with a curveball as well, changing where he releases the ball. Donahue has 2 strikes on him. The pitch from Glassburn is a rocket to right. Make it 2. Kyson Donahue leaves the park. 3-2 Chatham. Three at-bats, 2 homers, and a double for Kyson Donahue to give Chatham a 3-2 lead.
What has gotten into Kyson Donahue? Had 3 extra base hits on the season headed into tonight, and he has matched that total in 3 at-bats. A spectacular individual effort.
We haven't seen anything like it, really. We saw a cycle by Travis Bazzana, but in terms of consistent extra base hits, 2 homers and a double. First pitch is outside to Tyler Wolfert, who also has had a good night. 2 singles for Wolfert. The 1-0 is chopped to third, backhanded by Rubin. The toss across in time for out number 1.
This is New Orleans pitching staff that's been very good this summer. The 2nd lowest ERA in the league headed into tonight's doubleheader. It's lone kryptonite, however, the long ball. Headed into the game, leading the league in home runs given up. And that number hasn't dropped after tonight's games.
2 more homers, both off the bat of Donahue. Lane Forsythe, the batter. 1 out, 3-2 game in favor of Chatham, and a curveball in for a strike. And they have given up a lot of home runs, but I'll tell you this, a lot of those homers have been solo shots. There haven't been a lot of guys on base, which proves and shows why the ERA is still really low when it comes to the league. Curveball outside, 1-1.
ERA, 2nd lowest in the league. WHIP, 3rd lowest. So you'll live with that. It's just been, I wouldn't even say a trend. It's just been that way all summer.
1-1 to Forsythe is pulled foul. Glassburn has, and I say this in a comparison term, does a little bit of a Kershaw routine on the mound. Clayton Kershaw, if LA Dodgers left-handed pitcher, soon to be Hall of Famer, raises his hands all the way above his head before bringing them down to his waist. That's exactly what Glassburn does, but from the right side. His 1-2 is low. to Forsyth, who reached on a drop third strike in the first and then grounded into a double play in the third. One of 3 double plays grounded into by Chatham tonight, just in this game as well. 2-2 to the righty. Glassburn kicks, deals just a little bit low, and Forsyth holds up.
Similar to Sunwolf, Glassburn's role on this team. This is an audition for him. How can he handle a high-pressure situation? How does he respond after giving up the go-ahead run?
The 3-2 pitch is low, a walk. Forsyth reaches with 1 out in the 6th. Chatham took the lead earlier in the inning on a solo shot from Donahue, and now they continue to threaten. A runner on, and up comes Zach McDonald.
And I'm getting warm in the bullpen for Orleans. Only recording 1 out against 3 batters faced. You need this one against McDonald. 0 for 1, reached on an error.
Big lead over at first, pitch is low. The runner Forsyth could have taken second with ease. He decided to go back. A home run, a ground out, and now a walk here in the 6th. Glassburn above his head, now at the waist. He'll kick and deal. Curveball just low, 2-0. He stares in at Hunter to get the sign, now does. The righty on 2-0 against McDonald. The pitch is lined into left field for a base hit. Fielded by Trimble as he kept it in front of him. A 96-mile-per-hour single for McDonald, puts 2 on and 1 out, and up comes to the mound Kelly Nicholson. That'll be the end of the day for Cole Glassburn. Allows a home run, a walk, and a single. 1 out, 2 on, and the Birds are going to the bullpen here in the 6th. back here on the Birds Broadcast Network, and the Birds are in a little bit of a jam. They bring in Mauricio Rodriguez, the Massachusetts native in Revere, to face off with the righty Jaden Melendez, with 2 on and 1 out. Rodriguez, in his second appearance for the Firebirds, fires a 91-mile-per-hour fastball, fouled away by Melendez. 1 appearance for Rodriguez 5 days ago against YD. A scoreless inning, striking out 1 and allowing 1 hit. This time, some more pressure, some more tension. Chatham with 8 hits already on the day. A throw back to second. Oyama catches it and will toss back to Rodriguez. On second is Forsyth. He walked. On first is McDonald. He roped a single to left. Chatham up 3-2 here in the bottom of the 6th of game 2 of the doubleheader. Rodriguez comes set. Now fires outside. 1-1. 1-1, 1 out. Rodriguez looks in for the sign and gets it from Henry Hunter, the catcher. He'll look back at second. Now throw the 1-1 high and inside. It clipped him. It clipped Melendez, and he knew it immediately. He's heading to first base, a hit by pitch. Bases loaded for Chatham with Derek Fabian coming to bat.
This is difficult. Derek Fabian is arguably the best hitter in this lineup. For one reason or another, batting 9th here in the second leg of the doubleheader. 0 for 2, grinded into a double play his last time up in the 4th.
Fabian against Rodriguez. The first pitch, a swing and a miss. A nasty off-speed pitch that Fabian goes fishing for in the dirt.
That was nowhere close, low and away. That's why pitches with movement are so lethal.
Fabian hitting .366 in 22 games for Chatham this summer. 0-1 the count with bases loaded. The pitch, swing and a miss. Same pitch, same spot. 0-2. Rodriguez needs the strikeout, or he needs a double play ball. Chatham's already grounded into 3 tonight in 6 innings. I should say 5 1/3. 0-2 from Rodriguez to Fabian is low. Hunter blocks it up in the dirt.
That's a great effort from Henry Hunter. So good behind the plate.
On third is Forsyth. On second is McDonald. And on first is Melendez. Walk, hit by pitch. 1-2 pitch is inside, gets away from Hunter to the backstop, and in comes the runner, Forsyth. A wild pitch from Rodriguez, and Chatham takes a 4-2 lead.
It's a tough inning for Orleans. Glassburn did not have it tonight, unfortunately. Can only get through 4 batters. Rodriguez, in only his second appearance with the team, walks into a tough situation, and it's still just as tough. And now the deficit even larger.
Runners move up. McDonald to third. Melendez on second. 2-2 the count to Fabian, and almost clipped him. An 83-mile-per-hour pitch inside, almost clipped Fabian. Full count. It was 0-2 at one point. Now it's 3-2. 1 out, second and third. Firebirds bring their defense in on the grass. Rodriguez comes set. The 3-2 pitch is low. Fabian walks. Not the worst thing for Orleans, with the first base being open. But Ian, after getting ahead 0-2 against the batter, Fabian, you want to put him away.
You have to put him away. With only 1 out recorded, already 2 runners in scoring position. Fabian, who's got more strikeouts than games played on the year. At least that was his numbers headed into the game. You got to put him away ahead in a count 0-2.
Brennan Holt back to the top of the order. Left-handed batter as the Firebirds middle infield in Penny, and Oyama moves back into double play depth. First pitch to Holt is outside at 92. This has not been Chatham hitting the ball over the park this inning.
No, it hasn't. I mean, you had Kyson Donahue at the leadoff shot. That was smoked. But outside of that, the damage done. Walk, wild pitch, single.
And a hit by pitch thrown in there, too. The 1-0 to Holt, swing and a miss. Holt with a double in the first, but it's been retired each of the last 2 times to the plate. 1 for 3 on the day. Chatham up 4-2, looking to break this game open with bases loaded and 1 out in the bottom of the 6th. They've already brought 2 home. Can they bring more, or can the Firebirds say no? Holt takes 1-1 outside from Rodriguez.
Rodriguez didn't have an issue walking batters in the spring, but he did have an issue letting them on via the hit. Gave up 44 hits in just under 20 innings pitched. Has yet to surrender one here.
2-1 the count to Holt. The pitch is fouled back. The fastball for Rodriguez has been his most trusted pitch so far tonight. Clocking in at 90 to 91, can reach 92, 93 at times. 2-2 the count to Holt. Firebirds looking for a strikeout or a double play. Rodriguez comes set at his chest. Kicks and deals the 2-2, fouled away, third base side.
This is a good at bat from Holt. This is the turning point in this game. It has not been a great offensive day for Orleans, period. You have to keep it manageable for a bullpen that's been cycling through arms. And only 1 out recorded with the bases juiced.
We'll do the 2-2 again between Rodriguez and Holt. The 7th pitch of the at-bat upcoming. It's low and blocked up by Hunter once again. Full count, 1 out, bases loaded. Everything going Chatham's way right now. The Firebirds have 1 more chance to put the fire out.
You got to attack if you're Rodriguez. Cannot let another batter reach to force in a run when you had him dead to rights with 2 strikes.
3-2, 1 out, bases loaded. The pitch from Rodriguez, a ground ball to third. Rubin to the plate, the catch and the force out at home is made. Out at the plate, bases still loaded as reaching on first is Holt on the fielder's choice, but a good play by Rubin. The third baseman throws home. Hunter keeps his foot on the bag at home.
Rubin makes it look easy. Committed an error earlier in this game, starting in his first game at third base all summer. And he makes, I wouldn't say a game-saving play, but potentially an inning-saving play to get the out. Still, the bases are loaded.
This time with 2 outs, the Firebirds move their defense back. Rodriguez against Martin Grudzelanek. The first pitch outside at 94. Rodriguez getting the arm going here in a big spot. He'll look in at Hunter against Martin Grudzelanek, who's 1 for 3 on the night. The 1-0 pitch is fouled back.
He's been one of the hottest bats in the Firebirds order, rather the Anglers order as of late. Trying to come up in a big spot.
1-1 the count between Rodriguez and Martin Grudzelanek as he looks to get out of this jam. A base is loaded and 1 out. Now there's 2. The 1-1, swing and a miss. Rodriguez pulls the string on him.
That was a good pitch. Outer half of the plate for a strike at 82. Grudzelanek, Martin Grudzelanek rather, had no idea where that pitch was going to land.
1-2, 2 outs, bases loaded. Chatham leads 4-2, bottom 6. Kicking and dealing, Rodriguez fouled away. Martin Grudzelanek with a single in the first. Put runners on the corners. Kent with a double play. Drove in the run, of course, no RBI, but drove in the run anyway, which is what matters. do the 1-2 again between Rodriguez and Martin Grudzelanek. The pitch is low and outside. Hunter slides over to block it. 2-2.
This has been a battle for Rodriguez. He's thrown just under 20 pitches, 3 more balls than strikes. Still only needs 1 more good pitch to get out of the jam, which is saying something.
2-2, 2 outs. Orleans down 2, 4-2. The pitch inside runs the count full. It's never easy, no matter who you play. The stress is there, the tension's there, but who can come out on top? Rodriguez or Martin Grudzelanek in a battle, in a war here in the 6th. Bases loaded, 3-2, 2 outs. The sound getting louder here in Chatham. The pitch, fouled back. Martin Grudzelanek just got a piece.
These Chatham at-bats are really good. His 6th inning is about as good as it gets offensively in a frame in where you've only scored 2 runs. It's going on forever.
We'll do the full count pitch again as the fans stomp their feet on the bleachers. Runners will be off. The 3-2 pitch is inside and low, ball 4. Rodriguez walks in a run. Scoring is Melendez. Fabian to third. To second is Holt. Martin Grudzelanek earns himself an RBI on the walk.
That might have been one of the better at-bats I've seen all summer from any player on the Cape. That was a battle. And Rodriguez comes up just short. Not a bad pitch. Missed a little low.
Hunter goes out and checks on Rodriguez. This will be the 9th batter to the plate for Chatham in the inning. It'll be Caden Kent, the left-handed batter who's 0 for 3 on the night. Firebirds now down 5-2. Bases still loaded with 2 outs. Rodriguez's pitch, line drive into left center field. Back goes Tuft. He's got it. He makes the catch. Check that Trimble. Fenwick Trimble makes the catch and keeps Chatham at bay. They leave the bases loaded, but they do score 3 to take the lead in the bottom of the 6th. The Firebirds have 9 outs to score 3. It all starts in the top of the 7th when we come back. We have 7 runs here between these two teams, 5-2 Chatham as we go to the 7th. But Ian, there are scores around the league. And what do you got?
We have got some unbelievable scores tonight, Dylan.
Go on.
The Falmouth Commodores dismantled the Katuitt Kettleers at their place, 27-2. The Commodores scored 14 runs in the 5th inning alone. Travis Bizana, in a single game, went 6 for 7, scored 6 runs, and drove in 8. He's a future first-round pick next year out of Oregon State. That's an Ian Nicholas guarantee. Around the league in the top of the 9th, we got a good one. Hyannis and Wareham tied at 8 from McKeon Park. YD destroying Bourne. They lead 14-0 from Doran Park in the bottom of the 9th. And another blowout, Harwich against Brewster. They lead by 13, 17-4 from White House Field. Where are the runs?
Where's the
here
pitching?
For Veterans Park. Where is the pitching? We've reached that point in the year where the offenses have taken over.
Henry Hunter swings for his pitch, fouls it away. I guess the only pitching that showed up was here in Chatham. Only 7 runs in this game so far. As we go to the 7th, Henry Hunter leads off for the Firebirds as they find themselves down 3, 5-2. Thankfully, they don't find themselves down 25 like Katuitt did today.
Things can always be worse. But Kettler is the best team in the league.
What's happened to them?
Well, don't overreact, but it's a different team than they were when they were on that 8-game winning streak.
1-1 is high. The Firebirds beat Katuitt. They were down 5-0. They came back and won 6-5 to break that 8-game winning streak. Ever since, they haven't been themselves, like you said, Ian. 2-1 the count to Hunter. Line drive to first, gobbled up by Kent. He'll race to the bag and touch it before Henry Hunter does for out number 1. Liam Paddock has retired 3 in a row. He came in the 5th, allowed 1 run, the game tying run at the time on an RBI double by Justin Rubin. That was actually Xander Sechrist. Paddock has come in. He hasn't allowed a hit, only a walk, and has gotten 5 outs. Up comes Colin Tuft, the 9-hitter from the right side, 0 for 2 on the day. First time facing Paddock. The lefty fires high and outside.
I did the math, and since Orleans beat Katuitt all the way back on July 16th, a 6-5 win from Eldridge Park, Kettlers have played 9 games and have been a 500 team. 4-4-1.
The 1-0 is in there for a strike.
And if Hyannis can pull out that win at home against Wareham in what is a back-and-forth battle right now, tied at 8, the Harbor Hawks have a great chance to do something nobody thought would happen a few weeks ago, overtake Katuitt for top in the West.
Not at all. The 1-1's pulled foul. Looking at the standings coming into today, Katuitt played, this is Dylan's math, 38 games, 53 points. Hyannis, 38 games, same amount of games, 48 points. So it would bring them within 3 points of each other. The 1-2 to Tuft is outside. We all thought throughout the season Katuitt was far and away the best team. They were winning. They never stopped winning. But as we get to the finish line, Hyannis is as hot as you can be. And they're giving Katuitt a run for their money. The 2-2 line drive into left field for a base hit by Tuft. His first hit of the day is a 1-out single here in the 7th.
Second baseman, number 6.
A rocket from Tuft, the left. Clocks it at 99 miles an hour off the bat via TrackMan. He has sneaky good power. You know, for somebody who didn't put up a ton of numbers over 2 years at Virginia playing on a loaded Cavaliers team that's a regular in the College World Series, Tuft is going to bring a lot of offensive prowess and potential to Tulane next year.
After 2 years at Virginia. Joe Oyama is the batter. Squares around a bunt, pulls it back. It's a ball from Paddock. Now we mentioned how Chatham is limited in terms of what pitching they can use and how many arms they have. Only 11 on their roster compared to 17 by Orleans. 1-0 to Oyama in there for a strike. Paddock has gone long before. 3 1/3 in both of his last 2 outings. This is not a new thing for him. Currently at 32 pitches in 1 2/3. 2-0 to Oyama. Swing and a miss. Check that. 1-2. At times, trust the scoreboard.
At times not.
At times, not so much. The eye test always wins. 1-2 the count to Oyama from Paddock. Lefty on lefty. Pitch is high. Ian, I've noticed, and you have noticed too, Joe Oyama, if there is a hole in any of his game, at times it can be the high fastball from these pitchers, and they've been attacking that area in the zone against Oyama. Let's see if Paddock does it one more time. 2-2 pitch is low and in the dirt, full count.
It's hard to say it's a weakness of Oyama's game because it certainly hasn't derailed his season. He's one of, if not the best player in the league. But when he has struck out, which isn't often, a good amount of the time it is via the high fastball on strike 3.
Full count, runner on first, Tuft. He goes, pitches to the backstop. Tuft is going to turn second, think about third, but head back to second. A walk to Oyama. Tough takes second base on the walk. 1 out, 2 on, and up comes Justin Rubin as the game tying run.
Oh, Yama didn't bite at that high fastball.
The third baseman, number 23.
Albeit it was probably a foot or two over his head.
Maybe more.
A good at bat from Joe, per usual, from the UC Irvine star, passing the baton to a very reliable Justin Rubin.
The lefty Paddock against Rubin. Line drive to shortstop, misplayed, throw to second in time. I say misplayed because Fabian got caught in the dirt. Was slipping and sliding around. He flipped it to Martin Grudzelanek for the out. That was a potential double play ball. Chatham couldn't get it, and the Firebirds have another chance. Runner on third. Now is Tuft. Oyama forced out at second, Rubin on first. And up comes Jack Penny.
You count your lucky stars. You know, Jack Penny hit a 3-run home run against Chatham all the way back on the 5th.
First pitch is low for a ball. Penny the lefty against the lefty Paddock. Soon enough, we're going to give Jack Penny Clutch as his middle name. Runners on the corner, swing and a miss. On third is Tuft. On first is Rubin with 2 outs. An ACC triangle, you could say. Virginia, well, as of now, before the fall comes. Virginia on third, Virginia on first, and Notre Dame at the plate. 1-1, hard hit to second, but Martin Grudzelanek makes the play, throws to first for the out as Kent stretches. The Firebirds can't bring home their runners here in the 7th. They leave 2 on. We go to the bottom of the 7th. Let's stretch here in Chatham, 5-2 Anglers. Back here on the Birds Broadcast Network, score is 5-2 in favor of Chatham as we head to the bottom of the 7th. Kyson Donahue, who led off the 6th with a solo home run, begins the 7th in the left-handed batter's box against Mauricio Rodriguez. First pitch, ground ball to first base, booted by Stallman. The toss to first, not in time. A defensive miscue by Orleans will allow Donahue to reach. Second error on the day for the Firebirds. And Donahue reaches after a great day with 3 extra base hits. He now reaches on an error.
Everything is going Donahue's way. Solo home run to lead off last inning and gets on base to lead off this one. It's tough for Stallman, only making his 2nd start at first.
First pitch to the righty, Wolfert, is a strike. Rodriguez came in the 6th. The hit by pitch, a walk. Fielder's choice, RBI walk, and a fly out. Donahue on first, reached on an error. 1-1 the count to Wolfert, who's 2 for 3 on the day. The righty out of Oklahoma State against the righty pitcher out of Rice. 1-1, chopper to third. Let's see if they can turn it to second for one on the first. They got him. The fourth double play that the Firebirds have turned today in just 7 innings. A very nonchalant call by the first base umpire in Joe LaBella, which is why we had to hesitate a little bit.
All 4 double plays have been a different combination. First was 3-6-3, second was 4-6-3, third was 6-4-3, if you can keep up with me. The last one, 5-4-3, around the horn.
Look at that. Math guy Ian. Forsythe fouls it back.
And they say I don't know baseball.
Oh, you do. Pulling the numbers. So 3-6-3, 4-6-3, 5-4-3, and 6-4-3. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Interesting. Maybe we'll have another combination soon. 0-1 outside. And usually a team that hits in a 4 double plays is getting unlucky and not scoring a lot of runs, but Chatham has 5 runs so far tonight. So they're not letting that affect them. 1-1 on the ground to shortstop. Jack Penny shuffles and throws for the out. A scoreless inning for Chatham in the bottom of the 7th. Good inning by Mauricio Rodriguez. He gets 3 outs with no damage done. We'll go to the 8th. 5-2 Anglers. Back here on the Birds Broadcast Network. A 5-2 game. Firebirds trail by 3 as we go to the top of the 8th. Fenwick Trimble, Eddie Micheletti Jr., and Eddie King Jr. due up for the Birds, chasing 3 against Chatham. And another inning of work for Liam Paddock, who's been nothing but excellent. Has only allowed 1 hit. That was to Colin Tuft with 1 out in the 7th. Trimble checks his swing, called strike. 0 for 3 on the day is Trimble, but he's hit 2 balls really hard, Ian.
He has, and luckily we have the TrackMan data in front of us, so we can see just how hard he's hitting the ball.
0-1 fouled back. A line out to left in the first and a line out to right.
Trimble's got some of the best raw power on this team. Hit double-digit, excuse me, hit double-digit doubles and home runs during his sophomore year at James Madison.
0-2 from Paddock. Trimble digs it out to third base. The throw over is in time. Yes, to get Trimble. It's a close play over at first base, if you couldn't tell. And Trimble's retired. The third baseman, Forsythe, took his time, to say the least.
That's a tough pitch to swing at, or at least to turn into something. It was probably closer towards the plate than it was towards the bottom of the zone. Trimble pulled it towards his side of the field and left. Couldn't muscle it through the hole.
Brings up Eddie Micheletti Jr., who takes inside for a ball. The lefty Micheletti against the lefty Paddock. And we've seen this Firebirds team come back from multiple runs, 5 against Katuitt to win that game. They have 5 outs to work with to score 3 here against Chatham to avoid the split in the doubleheader. The 1-0 is low, 2-0.
Unfortunately, the middle of this order has been quiet. the second leg of his doubleheader. Eddie Micheletti 0 for 2 with a walk. Eddie King 0 for 3, trying to stay hot. He's been so good lately, but quiet in the second leg.
The 2-0 pitch from Paddock is taken for a strike. 6 hits for the Firebirds, 8 hits for Chatham. And Chatham leads 5-2. Orleans, who clinched a playoff spot yesterday, looking to continue to keep the 2 spot or maybe even go after the 1 spot. But it won't be easy, as YD with another win tonight.
And a blowout win at that. Orleans came into the day 5 points behind YD, 2.5 games back of first.
2-1, in for a strike, 2-2.
But YD doesn't play a doubleheader. Didn't play a doubleheader either, so you're down 3 runs. If you come back and win this game, you're only 1.5 games out.
3-2 pitch. Micheletti pulls it foul. First base line.
Good scoop.
Yeah, perfect field position by first base. Coach Jay Banfield
has not been the first base coach all season, but he stepped into that role quite nicely with the fielding.
He says he loves it. Brings him into the game some more. Full count pitch. Micheletti down the right field line. It will be a foul ball. Oh, man, right on the line. That would have been a double, maybe even a triple, as it went into the right field corner. Jay Banfield not happy with that. Kelly Nicholson confused. It was right down the line.
Caden Kent, the first baseman, and Joe LaBella, the first base ump, pointing foul. Jay Banfield pointing fair. And ultimately the home side wins. We might look back at that moment if Orleans doesn't come back and say, what if a 1-out extra base hit from Eddie Micheletti potentially could have sparked a rally. Still has a chance with the full count.
Full count, nobody on, 1 out, top 8, 5-2 Chatham leads. The 3-2 pitch is high for ball 4. So another 1-out base runner for Orleans. They had one in the 6th. They had one in the 5th. They had one in the 7th. And now they bring one on here in the 8th.
That's what Eddie Micheletti does, even on a quiet night. He still reaches late in the game with 2 straight walks.
Up comes Eddie King. First pitch down the right field line, but curving foul. Getting out of the way, I believe, was Curran Jacobs, who's warming up in the right field bullpen for the Firebirds.
Yeah, that wasn't gone, but nearly 300 feet.
Well hit. The 0-1. 1 out, 1 on. The pitch is high and outside and picked out of the air by Melendez. An 86-mile-per-hour fastball. What a play. That would have been Micheletti at second base.
He's been really good behind the plate. We haven't said that much because he hasn't made an error to really bring that up.
It's a spectacular play. A 1-1 is down and outside. And Melendez is going to meet with the pitcher Paddock on the mound.
Yeah, it's not a surprise. Melendez was a really good player coming out of high school. Went to Westminster Christian, Westminster Christian, which is a private school outside of Miami. He was a top 10 catcher in the nation in his recruiting class. Began his collegiate career closer to home at Florida International. Transferred to Pitt to play for the Panthers. Was son of a longtime Division I coach, and obviously he's well trained behind the plate.
Meeting over. 2-1 the count to Eddie King. 1 out, Birds down 3. The pitch is high and outside, 3-1. 1 ball away from bringing up the tying run, which would be Brandon Stallman, the bat on deck for Orleans. Paddock takes a deep breath, kicks and deals a 3-1, low and inside. Back-to-back walks with 1 out, brings up the tying run in Brandon Stallman with the Birds down 3.
This is not a Firebirds team that walks a lot.
First baseman number 8.
Towards the bottom 3 in the league in walks per game. But when they need to, back-to-back here in the 7th inning. Rather, the top of the 8th.
Stallman, the hitter, against Paddock. Lefty-lefty. First pitch fouled back. And you think Stallman has the idea in his mind that he wants to maybe swing a little bit harder and send one out of here to tie the game?
It's got to be in his mind, but he's played so disciplined all summer. He knows how big a situation it is. It is.
Paddock looks at second. The 0-1 to Stallman. Line drive into left field. It will get down for a base hit. Around third comes Micheletti. He gets the stop sign. Bases loaded for Orleans here on the top of the 8th after a bloop single into left field by Brandon Stallman. It brings up a pinch hitter for Orleans. Instead of Henry Hunter, it'll be Matt Hallback.
What a great move, in my opinion, from Kelly Nicholson. You get Matt Hallback some rest, but he's not out for the count. You get one of your best bats in the lineup with the bases loaded and 1 out. 62 miles off the bat from Stallman, a little dinker on the left, and it gets the job done to set up Hallback in a big spot.
Hallback with 7 extra base hits on the season, including 1 home run. But before we get to that, Todd Shelton, the interim manager for Chatham, is going to come and talk with Liam Paddock. Now, does not have to take him out. We'll see if that'll be the end of the day for Paddock. Maybe they want to bring in a righty to face the righty Hallback. He's replacing the left-handed batter, Henry Hunter, which will most likely bring in Owen Carpellotti defensively in the bottom of the 8th. Shelton talking with Paddock along with the rest of the infield. It looks like he's going to stay in.
Chatham currently doesn't have a pitching coach, so whenever Shelton heads out to the mound, you don't know. But it appears that the umpire signal for the bullpen, there's going to be a pitching change with the bases loaded and 1 out, and the turning point potentially in this game.
Bases loaded. Birds down 3, 1 out. Will they come back? We'll see when we come back on the Birds Broadcast Network. Back here on the Birds Broadcast Network, this game has gotten stressful. This game has gotten close. 5-2, Chatham the score, but the Birds have the bases loaded. And they bring up Matt Hallback as the pinch hitter. In game 1, Hallback with a single in the 9th inning eventually scored the go-ahead run to make it 8-7 before Sean Matson got the save to close it down. On third is Micheletti. Second is King. On first is Stallman. 1 out, top 8, Chatham up 5-2. New pitcher is Trey Gibson, the righty out of Liberty University. First pitch to Hallback It's popped up in a shallow center. It's dropping, it's in play. 1 run scores. In comes Eddie King. The tag is not in time. Eddie King scores. 2 RBI single for Matt Holback. 5-4 Chatham leads. First pitch swinging Matt Holback. A blooper into center. Micheletti scores, King scores, Stallman to second. The game's now a 1-run game.
The throw was more offline than it was off time. It drew the catcher behind the plate in Melendez towards third.
Tuffed up, runner on second and first. First pitch to him is off speed for a strike. Ian Gibson's numbers have not been pretty so far this summer.
No, they haven't. There was a stretch of 2 appearances where he gave up 13 earned in just under 8 innings pitched. He has over a 10 ERA on the summer.
0-1 to Tuft. Pitch is low. Melendez doesn't know where it is. Now he picks it up. Stallman on second. He's the tying run. Holback on first. He's the go-ahead run. Firebirds looking to strike back and come back for the 2nd straight game today against the Anglers. Gibson, the tall right-handed pitcher. Kicks and deals to Tuft, who fouls it back. 1-2 with 1 out.
6'5", 240 for the Newport News Virginia native on the mound. Did not pitch at all this past year at Liberty. It's been an up-and-down summer, and when you don't play at all in the spring, it doesn't necessarily help you. Coming into a gauntlet that is the Cape Cod Baseball League.
Another runner in scoring position for Orleans. The tying run. 1-2. The pitch to Tuft is pulled to third. Step on the bag. Throw to first. Double play. Forsythe fields it. Steps on third. The throw over for a double play. Ian, we can have another double play combination. That time it's in favor of Chatham. Orleans scores 2. Leaves 1 on. 5-4 the score as we go bottom 8. Back here on the Birds Broadcast Network, we go to the top, or check that, the bottom of the 8th. 5-4, Chatham in front. 2 runs by Orleans in the top of the 8th, but a double play wipes that away as they tried to score the game tying run, a 5-3 double play, and it's 5-4 as we go to the bottom of the 8th. New pitcher for the Birds is actually a local resident, Ian.
Yeah, it's Curran Jacobs. His family currently resides in Yarmouthport, about 20 minutes away from Eldridge Park. Jacobs, a Massachusetts native through and through, grew up in Worcester County. Played his first 2 years at UMass Dartmouth, didn't have a single pitch though. Battled through Tommy John, recovering from that surgery, heading into his freshman year. Tore his UCL again, heading into his junior year. It's been an up and down battle for Jacobs throughout his career. Now healthy, trying to prove himself here on the Cape.
A one-run game in the bottom of the 8th. Going to keep it where it is. First pitch, foul ball by Zach McDonald. McDonald has reached twice tonight on an error and a single, and was thrown out at the plate on a force play by Justin Rubin to the catcher at the time, Henry Hunter. Now it's Owen Carpellotti after Hunter was pinch hit for. McDonald fouls back the 0-1.
Matt Hallback pinch hit for Henry Hunter, but he leaves the game.
Yes, Hallback is out. Hunter is out. Stallman stays at first. Firebirds are down to a few more position players they can use. Drew Farrow and Jake Casey. 0-2 the count to McDonald. The pitch is swung on and missed. Carpellotti picks it up in the dirt. The throw to first, inside. Stallman picks it out of the air. The pitch was in the dirt. It popped up. Carpellotti made the catch, then threw it, which was supposed to be on the inside part of first base. It ended up on the outside part. Stallman reached across the runner. McDonald made the catch for maybe the craziest strikeout put out that we've seen so far this year.
It was a solid throw from Carpellotti, but what a rebound at first from Stallman.
First pitch popped up way foul. Jaden Melendez.
Stallman committed an error earlier in this game as that ball was destroyed at 93. Foot foul off the bat.
Jacobs says 0-1 is inside and low. Now 5 pitches, 4 being strikes.
He throws some heat out of a bullpen. Just touched 93 on his latest fastball.
Seems like he has a new mindset here in his third appearance with the Firebirds. 1-1 fouled away. In both of his first and second appearances, 2 innings, he's walked 4. He's allowed 5 runs. The walks have been a problem for Jacobs, but so far here, 6 pitches, 5 strikes. The 1-2 to Melendez, a chopper to third. Rubin picks it up, tosses it across, and Stallman makes the catch for out number 2.
Kelly Nicholson is never going to give up on his guys. Curran Jacobs never gave up along the journey despite 2 massive injuries throughout his career. Ended up here on the Cape through persistence and just doing things the right way. Had a great season with Pierce College, a JUCO, and Washington State in the spring. Trying to put behind those 2 rough performances to start his summer.
Fabian to bat. Has reached once. 0 for 2 on the day. He reached on a walk. Nobody on, 2 outs, bottom 8, and he's hit with the pitch. A 2-out hit by pitch. Fabian will reach for the second time tonight. Not on hits, but a walk, and now he gets hit in the back on an off-speed pitch from Jacobs. It'll go back to the top of the order. Brennan Holt comes up to bat.
If you're going to wear a pitch, at least it happens to be a 76-mile-an-hour pitch in comparison to the low 90s fastball.
He gets hit in the back, right where you want to be hit. Holt, the lefty, against the righty Jacobs. First pitch, a little bit outside. 1-0 to Holt. Who had a double in the first. Ever since he's 0 for 3. The 1-0 is low.
It's a good pitch. It missed, but not by much.
2-0, 2 outs, 1 on. Chatham up 5-4 in the bottom of the 8th. The 2-0 pitch swung on and missed. 92 at the top of the zone that Holt went fishing for. Jacobs looking to keep this where it is. It'll be the top of the order for the Firebirds in the 9th. Oyama, Rubin, and Penny. 2-1, just high. Holt doesn't go for that one. 3-1. Jacobs with 2 quick outs. Now he's struggling to get the third.
Do you go back to the curveball? Now it's a lefty. You punked the last one.
3-1, inside and low. A hit by pitch, and now a walk. 2-on for Chatham with 2 outs. And up comes Bryce Martin Grudzalanek.
Now batting for the Anglers, the second baseman from USC, number 56, Bryce.
The last time Martin Grudzalanek came to the plate, he had a sensational at-bat. Walk with the bases loaded to drive in a run in an absolute battle between him and Mauricio Rodriguez.
Martin Grudzalanek, runners on first and second, 2 outs for Chatham. Up 1, bottom 8, fouls back. The first pitch fastball. Jacobs is pitcher number 5 for Orleans. 2 outs, 2 on. The 0-1 is a little bit high to Grudzalanek. It started with Truitt, then to Colton Sunloff, who went 2 scoreless. Cole Glassburn, Mauricio Rodriguez, and now Curran Jacobs. Going to finish off 8 innings of work and give this offense a chance to tie it in the 9th like they did in game 1. 1-1 pitch is high.
Kind of seems like Jacobs is dancing around the zone right now. It's either fastball high or the fastball low. Over these last few, the fastball's been missing up. You have to challenge these guys with 2 outs.
2-on, 2-1, outside for a ball, 3-1. No one warming in the Firebirds bullpen. This is Curran Jacobs' inning. And the Firebirds would love to keep this to a 1-run game. Came back from 1 in game 1 of a 7-6 deficit. 3-1, high, ball 4. 2 quick outs, a hit by pitch, and back-to-back walks. Ian, I know there's no one warming up in the bullpen, and Owen Carpelli is going to come talk with Curran Jacobs along with Justin Rubin. I think this is the right move. What do you think?
You know, I'm not entirely sure what's going wrong with Jacobs right now. If I had to guess, I would say that something's not working in terms of one pitch. He's pounding the fastball. And I know he's got more than just that fastball in him. Maybe he doesn't trust the curveball after he plunked Derek Fabian. But he's throwing the fastball. He's not throwing it for strikes. And he's not getting swing and miss.
Caden Kent is 0 for 4 on the day. Comes up with bases loaded and 2 outs. First pitch to lefty is pulled foul first base line. From nobody on and 2 outs to now bases loaded with 2 outs and not any of them coming by way of a hit. Jacobs comes set at the belt. The 0-1 pitch to Kent is high. All of these walks and hit by pitches would be erased if Jacobs can get this last out.
All this damage has been done with 2 outs. As we said all summer, the third out is usually the toughest to get.
1-1 outside for a ball.
It's another fastball that does not get the call.
Jacobs needs a strike here. 2-1 the count against Kent. Comes set and fires high, ball 3. One ball away from walking in a run, which the Firebirds have already done tonight. The 3-1 pitch, pulled foul. Deep, but foul. Full count. Bases loaded. 2 outs, 3-2 the count. With bases loaded. On third is Fabian. On second is Holt. On first is Martin Grunzalanek. The 3-2 pitch to Kent. Pulled foul.
This is another really good at bat. Last inning, it was actually 2 innings ago. It was Martin Grunzalanek and Rodriguez going at it with the bases loaded. This time around, Caden Kent, the all-star, he's not going away.
Kent came in hitting .314 on the season. Jacobs, his full count pitch. Strike three, swinging. Big strikeout for Curran Jacobs to leave the bases loaded for Chatham. Firebirds need one as we go to the ninth. 5-4 Chatham. The Birds Broadcast Network. We go to the ninth, and the Firebirds are coming to bat down one, just like they were in game one of this doubleheader. They came back down 7-6 to tie the game, to take the lead 8-7, and then close it out, winning 8-7 in game one. Ian, with the top of the order up, what do they have to do to tie this game?
Maybe pull a page out of Chatham's book. Last inning, where the A's, even with 2 outs, put 3 base runners on, and none of them reached via hits. You've got 3 guys at the top of this order who are very good at getting on base, and Oyama, Rubin, and Penny. Take your walks, just like Oyama did in the 7th.
Trey Gibson back to the mound here in the ninth after allowing a hit and getting a double play in the 8th. First pitch to Oyama is going the other way. Foul territory, third base side out of play. Forsythe gave it a look but ran out of room. Oyama started off this game. A third pitch home run. Solo shot to give Orleans a 1-0 lead. They haven't had the lead since. They've tied it. They need to do it again here in the ninth. Last chance for the Birds. 0-1 from Gibson is low. Oyama takes. It's Oyama, Rubin, Penny, and Trimble if we get there. All have home runs on the season. Oyama leads the team. The 1-1 goes the other way, foul. After today's home run, he now has 5.
He didn't have a single one headed into Friday's doubleheader, last Friday's doubleheader against Chatham. It's been an unreal week.
And he won player of the game last week. Player of the week last week.
Might have to give it to him again.
1-2, strike 3 swinging. Gibson goes off speed, 74 miles per hour for out number 1.
You know, we've talked about the fastball being the kryptonite for Oyama there. It's the curve. It's a big difference. He goes from 90 to 91 on the fastball to 74 on the curve. It's a big velo drop, and it fools Oyama.
Here's Justin Rubin, who's been in this spot before for the Firebirds. Down 1. Takes the ball low. It was against Katuitt. Not last Sunday, but the Sunday before. Hitting a game-tying solo home run to make it 5-5 at the time. Check that. 6-6. That was 5-5. Ball's low. I was right the first time. Should have stuck to my gut.
Jinx.
2-0 is the count to Rubin. His 1 home run of the season was a clutch one, a tying home run. Gibson Kicks and deals a 2-0. Outside, ball 3. Rubin has good speed as well if he gets on. He's been a very aggressive base runner for this team this year.
2 for 3 on stolen bases.
The 3-0 from Gibson is the ball high. A 4-pitch walk to Justin Rubin with 1 out, and up comes Jack Penny.
Not much more you could do there if you're Gibson. That's a good pitch. You could argue it clips the top of the zone. Rubin doesn't bite at it. He does not expand the zone.
Up comes Jack Penny, who has some experience hitting home runs here in Chatham. A 3-run shot in game 1. First pitch to Penny is a check swing foul into the Chatham dugout. Rubin's on first, like Ian said, 2 stolen bases in 3 attempts this summer. Penny coming in, hitting .281 with 4 homers and 16 RBIs. 0-1 the count. Gibson kicks and fires outside. Fastball at 87. Ian, how would you play the game here in terms of sending or not sending Rubin?
If there were nobody out, I'd be more inclined. 1 out, down a run, not sure.
The 1-1 pitch is in there for a strike, a fastball again. Go, baby. 1-2, 1 out. On first is Rubin. Gibson from the stretch. Kicks and fires. Penny checks his swing. Did he go? He did not. The Chatham faithful not happy. The count runs to 2-2 with 1 out. Runner on first is Rubin. Orleans chasing 1. Pitch in there, strike 3. Penny goes down looking for out number 2.
You don't see that often. Jack Penny striking out, going down looking. Give Gibson credit. It hasn't been his summer, but when his team has needed him here, 2 strikeouts of 2 of the best Orleans has to offer.
It brings up Fenwick Trimble as the last chance for Orleans. 1 runner on, 2 outs. Trimble fouls it away. Ian, Trimble has hit the ball hard tonight and in the last 5 games. He also has 2 home runs on the summer. He has the chance to tie it or even take the lead.
Talk about a big moment for him.
0-1. Rubin on first with a 2-step lead. The pitch, breaking ball, just high. 1-1. Rubin with good speed on first. He's going to be rounding the bases on a ball in the gap, hoping to score. 1 ball, 1 strike. Breaking ball in there for a strike.
Goes to the same pitch, but that time around, it drops in. Trimble looks at it both times.
Firebirds down to their final strike here in Chatham, in danger of splitting the doubleheader. 5-4 Chatham in front. 1-2 pitch. Trimble goes down swinging. Gibson strikes out the side in the 9th. Chatham wins 5-4. They split the doubleheader with the Firebirds. Three strikeouts and a walk for Trey Gibson in the 9th. The Firebirds drop to 20-19. They win game 1. They lose game 2, opposite of last week, where they lost game 1. They won game 2. They lose this game 5-4. Ian, it was 14 innings of baseball today. The Firebirds just couldn't mount a second comeback.
No. And it was a good game, a winnable game. But at the end of the day, Chatham just played a little bit better. That was a really awesome pitch sequence from Gibson. That was dominant. Strikes out Joe Oyama swinging, and then hands both Jack Penny and Fenwick Trimble a couple Ks. That last one going curveball, curveball, curveball. started up in the zone, then finished in the middle of the zone, finishes below the zone on the final one. Not much you could do there if you're Fenwick Trimble. Ultimately, you got to be a little bit disappointed with how this outcome ends. You don't gain a game on YD when you had a good opportunity to do so. And even after a doubleheader against a team with the worst record in the league, you're still 2.5 games back of first. You have a good opportunity tomorrow to get back on the wagon, though.
Yes.
At home, Brewster, a team you're 5-0 against this year. That means something. You want to complete that season sweep of the Whitecaps, the defending East Division champs. Roll into a tough matchup against Hyannis on Sunday with a win, because that is a juggernaut in the Harbor Hawks, who I got to look at the final score from that Wareham game, but are playing their best baseball right now.
Yes, they are. So the final scores, we'll keep it brief here on the Cooling Down postgame show. 5-4 Chatham wins game 2. Ian, let's do a final around the league before we pay the bills and head out of here.
100%. We already told you about the final from Lowell Park earlier today. The Falmouth Commodores putting up football numbers against the Kettleers. 27-2 win in which Travis Bazzana drove in 8 runs. I like to call him Travis Bonanza. And I think it's more of a deserving nickname. Hyannis did win that game against Wareham. What a win it was. 9-8 from McKeon Park. Eric Beatty's team continues to do wonderful things late in the season. YD picks up a big win. Dominates Bourne on the road. 14-0. So YD is going to keep pace with Orleans, who goes 1-1 today. Still 2.5 games ahead in the East Division. And Harwich, another team putting up over 20 runs.
Whoa.
A Mariners team that's lost a lot in terms of personnel over the last few days. Doesn't matter. They win 21-5 at home against Brewster. So Harwich with a loss. Harwich with a win, Brewster with a loss. Those are the two teams behind Orleans in the East Division. And those were the scores around the league today.
So Harwich wins. Firebirds split the doubleheader. 5-4 final. Here in game 2 of a doubleheader. 2 doubleheaders between these two teams, and both have been splits. A closer game, 5-4, the final right here. Tomorrow against Brewster, 6:30 start, 6:15 pregame show back at home. But before we go in, you know how it is. We got to pay the bills.
For the second time tonight, a shout out to the one, the only, Mazzio Construction. Mazzio Construction LLC worked hard to build a resume for itself. Let them put their knowledge, experience, and passion together to work for you. Their team is committed to exceed your expectations. New home, addition to existing home, renovation, they handle it all. They work close with their clients to make sure that all your needs are met. They're honest, on time with schedule, and passionate about what they do. Give them a call. Let them introduce you to their work, and let's see how they can help you. Mazzio Construction LLC, the official post-game sponsor of Cooling Down here on the Birds Broadcast Network. And, of course, a shout-out to Siemens Bank, our pregame sponsor on the Scorching Start.
As always, 5-4 final. Chatham takes it. We'll be back tomorrow, 6:30 first pitch, 6:15 scorching start between Brewster and Orleans.